Portia's experience. You may or may not remember, but you awoke, Portia, after having been swarmed by these horrible, huge spiders and their webs that seemed as strong as steel. You awoke in a large cavern, a dim purple light from one side of the room, a huge figure shuffling about in that space with you. You did not recognize them, but there was something familiar about them. You could feel a similar presence to one you've felt before when you first made your ill-fated deal. But this person was distinctively, visually, not the one that you'd spoken with before. And as we finished, Portia declared that... Eleanor declared that she was here to make a deal. And the figure smiled wide, and the skin on the face creaked like old bark.
If I'm correct, did you also say that this person seemed to have some kind of connection with the thing I made a deal with?
Absolutely. There was a sense of connection, a sense of familiarity. You are reminded of that entity, even though it is visually not the entity that stands before you.
Yeah.
But as you call out that you're here to make a bargain, the figure smiles wide, and the wider than perhaps should be possible. It shifts in form slightly, shrinking a little bit, less looming, less imposing, and large horns grow out of its forehead. Its beard, tangled mass of beard, somewhat recedes, and instead of this warp of vines and thorns in amongst the hair, instead the figure is still somewhat imposing, but takes on a recognizable form. There's kind of a moment of discomfort as you see standing before you, not too similar, but of the same race as your victim of your revenge, Stern Bloodhorn. You see a Minotaur stood before you. And a deep voice, with a smile still there, says, "Well, a bargain we can certainly discuss. What did you have in mind?"
She looks up to the sort of, imagine, somewhat towering form above her.
Yep, certainly still a good 3-4 times your height.
And she looks down at the sword and kind of places it on the ground and says, what would she say? This... It didn't bring me the quiet. And now it's just added more noise in the silence. I wish to undo what has been done.
You are displeased with your prior arrangement, then?
She kind of looks, she doesn't almost know where to look. Looking down around the room, looking at the luminescent purple light before she kind of fixes her gaze upwards, and her head tilts up slowly and in a very purposeful gaze focuses at the figure in front and just says, I am not.
Then it is fortunate for you that you stand before a superior deal maker. And the figure smiles again, that wide smile. My name is Briarbeard, to you, Eleanor Grassfoot. And we can certainly strike a deal, a better one than your prior contact. And as he smiles, you see this like orangey amber glow from inside his now much more trimmed and closer beard, and he reaches up into it and pulls out like a necklace that has clearly been tangled up in the beard, and you see an amber teardrop, a large teardrop that you could hold between your thumb and forefinger, encased in a simple necklace of wood and wrapped vines instead of metal chains. And you think you can see distant inside the necklace with an inner light, a frantic figure pounding against the barriers that keeps them there.
Do I recognise the figure?
Yeah, it's small, but that shock of familiarity swells, and you feel assured. And the figure doesn't seem to be hiding or making anything of it at all, and just says, "Your prior contact was weak and foolish and greedy. I think you'll find Briarbeard is much more fair. What is it exactly you desire, Eleanor Grassfoot?"
She, God fucking hell, that's cool art.
Yeah.
She... She looks down at the sword on the floor in front of her, and she says, Elsie. What was her last name again? My brain is tired.
Windchurn.
Windchurn. Elsie Windchurn. Her soul lies within this thing, and I am responsible for placing it there. There is another in there I am responsible for. I do not know what I want with that one. I wanted him for so long to suffer. For so long. I thought it would fix everything, but it didn't. Just... I just don't want this to happen again. Just...
The eyes. Oh, sorry, go on.
Just put Elsie Windchurn back where she belongs. And then just make sure this doesn't happen again. I don't think I'm ready to forgive yet. But I can... Maybe I can make amends. And she looks kind of shameful as she says that.
Yeah. The figure doesn't look with any judgment at all, but its gaze is very intense. Just watches you, kind of unblinking. And you must know the Bloodhorn holds 5 souls. You only wish to free the one?
She just looks down. Maybe this... Maybe they should all go free. I can't let go. Even now.
Figure smiles. A generous thought, Eleanor Grassfoot. This I can do. But as I'm sure you know, and he kind of fondles the amber teardrop again, a deal has two sides to it.
I do not care what happens to me. Just... I can't keep living like this. I am nothing. I died on the day on that ship. When my friends died around me at the hands of him, I died too. So, whatever your deal consists of, you cannot take more from me. Just make the pain stop. And make it less wrong.
Fair is fair, Eleanor Grassfoot. 5 souls for 1 is a lopsided scale, but we have ways of redressing the balance. I can free the 5 souls from the Bloodhorn if you would bind your soul to me. 5 lifetimes you will serve.
She looks down and she looks hesitant, but not for the reason one might think. She is more than ready to give up 4, but the question is she ready to give up 5?
Yeah, he senses her hesitation. I do enjoy negotiation, Eleanor Grassfoot. Is only us here. Please speak your mind.
What does binding one's soul to you entail?
You come from a society of your own, Eleanor Grassfoot. You are familiar with lords and servants. You will be at my beck and call. Follow my commands.
For what purpose?
Kind of chuckles to himself, this deep, throaty chuckle. I'm afraid right now, all I would want is someone to keep an eye on the newest visitors to this fair isle. But by binding yourself to me, you would not be able to resist a command. 5 souls for 1. Such a deal must be made in complete dedication.
She goes quiet for a moment. And she in her silence, it does give her a moment to reflect and think about her friends and the pain and journey she has gone through, and how her anger and her revenge have given her nothing, only stolen time from her and brought her further suffering. Maybe there's meaning in the nothingness. Maybe serving you would just bring more of this, and she kind of gestures to the sword. Okay.
The figure simply watches.
I came here to bargain and undo deeds that I've already committed. Maybe there is no one doing them. She kind of sort of breathes heavily and sort of leans down and picks up the sword, or goes to pick it up and sort of holds it. What is your plans for those who walk this island?
You misunderstand me, Eleanor Grassfoot. Briarbeard isn't one for plans. I simply wish to know what they're doing. What are their plans, their intentions?
What will you do with that information?
Ensure that the good creatures of the island are healthy and happy. I wouldn't want anyone disrupting the direction of life.
And if they were to disrupt the direction of life, then what then?
Who can know the future exactly? Perhaps a deal could be made. And the smile widens again.
I do not know the answer to this question. There is no relief for me. There is no point, and if there is no point, maybe this is creating one.
The figure's hands slowly, open to either side, gesturing outwards, and you see hovering above each hand is an image. Above the left hand is the Bloodhorn, the sword, with the face of Elsie reflected in the blade itself, clearly tormented. And above the other hand, the right hand, is you, but with a amber teardrop pendant worn around your neck, striding through the jungle here, with a look of purpose on your face.
God, this is a fucking hard decision.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
I'm trying to put myself in Eleanor's mind. From her mind, she is suffering because she's still got no relief from the pain she's feeling from so long ago.
Yeah.
And she's also desperate to undo things, but slowly realizing that maybe things can't be undone. I don't know. I really don't know. This is such a hard decision.
Super tough. You could roll an insight check if you wanted to see if you could figure out what this figure's about.
Let's do that. I think it's a 14.
Hmm.
It's not great, but it's not terrible.
I'm gonna roll in secret.
Yeah, of course.
The figure just sits, or stands, and watches. There is, in contrast to your previous contact, there is more of a gentleness here. Or, gentleness is the wrong word. There's a neutrality where before you sensed you were desperate and you knew the figure was greedy and was out for their own gain. But it was, at the time, it was worth it to you. It was what you needed with how you felt in your heart.
Yeah.
This figure's different. There's doesn't seem to be a greed. There's just an almost alien, calm neutrality to things.
I think that helps answer questions. Her thoughts. I think her thoughts are just. I think she's just so focused on her own turmoil ultimately. Does she really care about Elsie Winchurn, or does she care about how killing her made her feel?
Great question. Yeah.
I think she cares more about how it made her feel. She just takes the sword and sort of stabs it into the ground and just says, just make it not hurt anymore.
The figure holds the amber teardrop, and you see the vines that make up the thread of the necklace unwind from each other, so that it can hold the amber teardrop out to you. Its arm extends until it's right up, just in front of your neck. This large, calloused hand holds it out in front of you. If you are to take our deal, I can promise you will not feel it anymore. Take up the teardrop. Their souls will be freed. Your pain will be gone.
She nods. And she leans in. As if to have the necklace placed upon her.
Yeah. And the vines move out and clasp around your neck, and you feel a sense of fate, a sense of finality, and a deal sealed. The sword stuck in the ground shudders. A blood-red light runs through the largely black obsidian blade. The figure smiles, that wide smile. You hear that creaking wooden sound, and the form reverts from the Minotaur shape into just this large, dark, formless, bramble, briar-filled beard. And it says, "It is done," and gestures towards the sword. And you see coming from the sword, each of the souls freed. You see the glimpsing sight of an elf. Very clearly, an elf, looks feminine, very regally dressed. There's like a moment as the spirit twists around the blade and is freed from it and just moves up into the air and dissipates with a fleeting look of gratitude and relief towards you, Eleanor. The second figure is orcish in nature, quite the opposite of the first. Broad set shoulders, masculine presentation, thick facial hair, a beard coming down to his navel, tribal tattoos all across him, perhaps a member of the Sari. This one, there is a nod of recognition and thanks towards you before again disappearing. The third figure makes your heart wince slightly. It's just a child. Looks like a young gnomish boy. Looks confused, but thankful, and smiles as he looks up at you, clutching what looks like a strange contraption in his hands before again disappearing into the ether. Fourth is one that perhaps makes you feel the most. The form of Dern Bloodhorn emanates out. There is a look of fear on his face as he looks at you and disappears quicker than the rest. And then finally, Elsie Windchurn emerges with the same straight-backed, military-like posture that you saw on the ship. She looks at you with a respect in her eyes. Confused emotions deep within, but on the surface a respect. But as her spirit leaves the blade and goes to move towards the ceiling of this dark chamber and dissipate, countering the purple light is a bright orange and red. Flames erupt from the floor. What can only be described as a circle of fire. A portal opens in the ground, and you see a beautiful, harsh-looking, red-skinned tiefling step up as if climbing the last few stairs. She breathes out. That was quite a few. Took a while, but it's good to know that my dealings haven't been in vain. She looks at Briarbeard, who has a quizzical look on their face, smiles at you, Eleanor, and just says, "This all worked out rather well, didn't it?" Grasps the hand of Elsie, who is recoiling and desperately trying to pull away from the figure, before swiftly, not like the stairs stepping up, like she's just leapt from a ledge, disappears back down into the portal, and you hear the scream of Elsie Windchurn as she is dragged down into the fire, and the portal disappears.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I wondered if you'd remember.
Of course! But for Eleanor, there is a moment of horror. The deal is done. Briarbeard true to their word. But perhaps not what Eleanor had hoped for. But again, true to their word. The feelings of betrayal and anguish, that ever-burning, dripping revenge inside, does numb. There's almost a grey mist descends over Eleanor's eyes. She is not lost in memory, but instead a waking malaise, a lack of feeling just descends over your whole body. Briarbeard smiles once more, the creaking wooden sound. There is much to be done, Eleanor Grassfoot. And the scene fades.
Fucking hell. That was cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Some
That's a very hard
interest-
decision.
But yeah, absolutely. I think you reasoned it out as best as it's fucking possible to do for your character. We go now to a much simpler scene. Pushkin Soup Ladle awaking on the morning of day 7. There's a few things to remind you of. I turn the happy music of New Quivershank back on. You know, Pushkin, perhaps foremost in your mind, that food is running out. You managed to make do yesterday with the foraging findings from your hunter-gatherer team of mostly goblins.
Yeah.
And your small expedition to the northwest, but mostly west. You awake this day, knowing that people's stomachs are going to start rumbling. There are no stores left. You still have well above 70 mouths to feed. What is your plan?
Before you move on, I just want to quickly say that during that scene, that I put on some like Dark Souls music in the background for the recording. And as you fucking did the fucking bit with the devil coming up, it literally went into like this like really fucking dark like epic bit, and you need to listen back to it just for that. It was really,
hell
it
yeah!
was
I
like
will.
perfect timing.
That's awesome. I absolutely will.
Sorry, go on.
No, of course. Pushkin, what's going through
Huh?
Pushkin's mind as he awakes for the day?
Well, probably going to set out again into the wildy.
Yeah? Meet me in the wildy. Same team?
Yeah, same team.
Excellent, yeah. You find people enthused, the Lord himself cleaning his weapon.
Oh god.
Yep. All strapped up with some ammo belts and the pockets of his very fancy coat laid heavy with all manner of tools and hunting paraphernalia. He's gathered people around him and he's chattering incessantly at Zython about what he's going to do and about the Gilly Beer boys and all of that. And as he sees you gathering them, he's like, "Ah, Pushkin! What's the plan today, eh? Some trophies?"
We're gonna go out further, my lord. See what we can find. We stripped it bare last time. Except the Gilly Bear boys, of course.
Yes. Famous Gilly Beer boys. And he nudges Zython hard in the ribs. We discovered that the new Quivershank has its first discovery.
He'd look down at the gun and be like, "My lord, maybe I think we can find better sport than the Gilly Bear boys for you to hunt. They could become a underclass that serve us if we do it well." And to give him a wink.
He'd have a little pout on his face and just be like, "I do like an underclass." Well, all right, Pushkin. You've served us well in the expedition so far. You haven't led us astray, so I'll trust your judgment. You just point me at what I can, and I'll blast it off its feet. Get a nice big head or crest or whatever the creatures have out here, and mount it on the. And he kind of looks around. Tent wall. I'll find somewhere to mount it, won't we, Zython? Zython doesn't.
Right. Let's head out then.
Yeah. Just before you head out, probably the herbalist goblin that you've been speaking to. Oh, wait, no, that was Salia's goblin. Oh, no, wait, because they all went together to gather. So, yeah, just a collection of the family are looking concerned. And they kind of say to you, if we need to supply the whole group, I'm not sure that it will be possible here. Mr. Soup Ladle, Pushkin.
What are you saying? We've run out of food?
Yes. Most certainly so. The group that went fishing yesterday came back with scant supplies. They don't seem particularly adept. We as a family, we know how to fend for ourselves, and we could survive indefinitely. And the kind of little goblin heads all nod around. But supplying for the rest of the expedition might be a bit trickier. You may need to start thinking about rationing or some going without.
Well, of course it goes to say that those hunting for food should be the first to take of what they find. So your family should be the first, being the experts in the matter.
The goblins all nod enthusiastically. Well,
If we didn't have you, then we'd have even less food. I'm pretty sure that's right.
more nodding, just says, "Well, I'm glad we're on the same page then. We'll do our best, of course, and once
If we don't find anything today, well, I will ration myself before anyone else." He pats his stomach. Need to lose a few pounds anyway.
A few of the goblins laugh. A couple of them nod and like smile admiringly. One or two of them give you a bit of a like narrowed eyes, like, "Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it."
Pushkin would lean over to this goblin and be like, whisper, "But if it really does go bad, I wouldn't blame you if your family disappeared." He just like nods very seriously at them.
They hold eye contact and give you quite a respectful little nod as well, before going back to getting everything ready. Excellent. It's a beer.
I know we're fucked, but I'm not saying it out loud.
So, where are we heading?
Here-ish.
Okay, so more.
Because I think we went here, right? And then
You went, and in fact, I might as well reveal it on the map now. The Gilly Beer Boys were here, where it says ape.
yeah.
You went through this hex, nothing there. And you took. I haven't marked them because there's nothing there, but essentially you took that route before. If you can see
Yeah.
that.
He wants to go like, can you see that?
Yep.
Like that ish.
Okay, so a few days expedition.
Yeah, hell yeah. He want if they come back with no food, then they're fucked. If they come back with like, we saved everyone with food,
Very
when
true.
everyone starts starving, we'll look like heroes.
Okay.
Whatever.
The expedition sets off. There's a great enthusiasm, and some of the people staying behind even cheer. People have settled in more now that it's been a couple of days, and their tents are starting to be adorned with personal touches. But you head off. As you move across these grassy plains, miles of walking, taking in your surroundings. It's incredibly lush here and largely untouched in comparison to Hesperia itself, which has many well-worn paths and small buildings or remnants of buildings that suffered at the hands of the ash fall. But did you go up or down? Which one was it?
It was sort of more up. It was
And then the
like that.
Okay, cool.
So they're not going through the same space each
Yeah.
time.
So as the day wears on into the afternoon, you've been pushing through the trees of the jungle for a while. Let's get our jungle sounds on. You've been pushing through the trees of the jungle for a while, all manner of small wildlife, kind of catching people's interest. Lord Quivershank has probably lunged at a few trees with particularly exciting beetles or butterflies on them, with a completely oversized hunting knife that he's entirely inept with, missing wildly, but like a happy toddler with Lego bricks, he's just enjoying being there and being involved with colourful things. But as the day wears on into the afternoon, You come across a clearing. Particularly noted is the sudden lack of density of the trees. The trees are thick and wound with vines right up to this clearing, and then suddenly there's nothing. In the clearing's opening, there are some grasses and some fallen vegetation, vines that perhaps came from other trees. There are no tree stumps or anything like that, but you do see in the center of the clearing is a pool. Deep green-blue water lies still and undisturbed. In the center of the pool is a small island. The pool may be only maybe 80 feet across total, and the island in the middle maybe 20 feet across at its widest. And on that island stands a strange-looking plant, a single bush, a large bush, close to the ground but wide. And on this bush seems to be, for no other way of describing it, glowing fruit. There are these almost triangular-shaped, pyramidal shaped light blue fruit that emit a light, and the glow shines and is reflected on the surface of the still water around it. There's no sign of wildlife, but equally you can still hear the sounds of creatures nearby. Nothing's gone horribly silent or anything. But as your party sort of breaks into this clearing, all eyes turn to this strange bush on the center of the island. How does Pushkin react?
Strange bush.
Strange bush.
He would. So, does it look edible from here?
You could do a... I'm not sure what the role would be for this, because this is using Pushkin's experience as a chef. Whatever skill you think is appropriate, feel free to make a check.
Okay, nature.
Yeah. 17. It certainly looks... It has the look of a ripe fruit. It's, even with its strange triangular or pyramid-like shape, the sides of it bulge a little bit. It looks like it's fleshy. The light blue color is very odd. Doesn't remind you of things you know to steer clear of when plants often signal a poisonous nature.
Does it look, is there a lot of it?
There is a lot of fruit, yes, peppered all across this large bush, which otherwise has these quite round, circular, spade-like leaves, these large leaves. In amongst them, there must be hundreds of these fruit. Absolutely.
Pushkin goes to the Lord. Be like, my lord, we have discovered a new fruit. May I do the honors and taste it to make sure it's fine for the rest of our friends?
I can think of no one better to do so, Pushkin. This is quite the sight, isn't it? Like something out of an adventure book.
If I'd be so bold, my lord, may I name the fruit?
I appreciate you, Pushkin, asking, of course. But seeing as I got to name the sapient, and kind of looks at you for a moment like, said a big word, species. I think it's only fair that you are officially in charge of naming the distinct foodstuffs of the New Quivershank and surrounding isle.
Gonna pick it up, and as he bites it, he's gonna be like, I name this fruit the Pushy Willow. He's gonna bite into it.
So he waits.
And he's gonna try and pretend it's nice, even if it's not.
Okay. So he wades through the water to the bush, plucks a fruit,
definitely.
and munches. Yeah. The water's only about shin deep. You do get your boots wet, but the fruit is entrancing, and as you get to the bush, it plucks very easily from the bush, much like any ripe fruit does. You hold it up, and the light blue light is reflected in your eyes as you bite down, taking a healthy chomp out of the side of this strange triangular shape, which actually makes it quite easy to eat. Bursting, the juice from it runs down your furry chin, and it is delicious. It is utterly delicious.
Oh, shit.
It has like a sweet and yet filling and savory essence to it. It kind of changes as it goes down. There's an aftertaste of like this really clear, almost mint-like flavor to it. It's just incredible, and recipes and ideas start to just fly through your mind as you bite down. Could you do a perception check for me at disadvantage?
Fishkin is surprised. He's like, "This is delicious." 12.
12's not bad. Your feline ear twitches and turns, even lost in this incredible new discovery of the pushy willow. You hear the sound of the surface of water breaking. A small little plop sound. You turn slightly, and your eye catches what looks like a snake beginning to writhe its way around your ankle.
He'd be like, "My lord, I am dead. Fire will." Yeah.
Incredible. The Lord immediately is like, "Oh, yes!" unslings the rifle, aims it haphazardly. God. No, I think we're going to do this. Let's have you out on the map. I should have known Pushkin would just go straight fucking for it.
It's food.
Hell yeah, it's food. It's
A
exactly
lot
what
of it.
you need right now. Put you there. Right. Move everyone over so you can see what I'm talking about. And right, we've got Lord Ernst. You like here. We've got Zython. Is accompanying you. You had the same group as yesterday, so you've got the Dwarven Marine. Where's she gone? The quiver sail, there it is. Citizen passengers. Dwarf. Okay. And then some goblins. Okay.
Fishkin, no.
This will be simplified as a battle, but I do want to see how this works out because it could go quite bad.
Oh, fuck.
Oh god, I haven't removed it from before. How did you roll? 21, nice. Let's put it back on. If you 21. And the music, something a little bit spicier. And we'll quickly do.
I feel like
We'll
this
do the
music
Lord.
sets the tone.
Yeah. Have rolled them already. Unsurprisingly, the Lord is not impressive. Zython actually did quite well. Marine. Wow. Goblins are going to act as one unit, so I'm just going to add them. Goblins. Okay.
Fishkin, what are
And
you actually good at?
descending. Yeah, I know. Combat suddenly. So, with that thing winding around your foot, you did roll high enough on your perception. You see this snake, this bundle. What you first thought was a snake is actually a bundle of what looks like vines or roots beginning to curl themselves around your leg.
Oh shit.
But it is your turn, Pushkin. People are beginning to react, but you are quickest to move. Your feline agility.
Has he been grabbed then?
Sorry, yes, you are grappled.
Okay. He's gonna try and break out without attacking it at first.
Very good.
Yeah.
Athletics or acrobatics for me, please. The 16 is enough. You do break. You manage to wriggle your foot and ankle free.
Then he's gonna use his feline agility.
Oh, hell yeah!
Doubles his speed until the end of the turn.
It's just
Super.
incredible. Splashing through the water.
And he's gonna get behind them. Yeah, like that.
Very
Like
nice.
the pussy is.
Okay. A large ripple crests across the water, and as it moves, it breaks the surface. And you see, I'm using the snake tokens for this, but it looks more like a root that has animated and come alive. The end of the root breaks into a mouth, but without a top and bottom jaw, instead splaying aside like a star almost as it writhes and moves towards you. A very large one emerging from the water. 30 and 30 as it begins to pull itself onto shore. Scython backs up about 20 feet and takes a dodge action.
Come, bro.
Ever enigmatic, not saying anything. The Marine draws her sword and engages the root in combat.
Nice.
Her first strike does hit, dealing... Oh, not bad. Dealing 7 damage. As she chops down into the root-like structure, and you can see it is definitely tough, resisting her blade. The goblins... the goblins look unsure and surprised. They're going to disengage and essentially swarm around you, Pushkin.
Pushkin's gonna be like, "That's our dinner! Take it down!"
Okay, make a persuasion check for me, please.
Okay.
$13. I'll say 2 of them look like they are steeled by your words and pull out small knives and hatchets, things they usually use to cut roots and vegetables and such from the ground. The other 2 continue essentially huddling behind your large form. Lord Ernst is loving it. He shoulders the rifle, plugs it into into the butt of his shoulder, and just boom, fires away.
I'm Lord Ernst. Nat 20.
He rolled a natural 6 and has a -1 modifier, as he is not
man.
proficient and terrible with his dexterity. He misses wildly, but doesn't hit the goblins next to him. You just see on the far side of the clearing, one of the trees takes a little dent into its bark and splinters slightly. And he's just like, almost had it! Cover me while I reload! And lowest on the initiative order are the smaller roots. They did not roll well. So you see emerging from this pool, sneaking out. 1, 2 on the middle, and then 3 from over here. to here. To here. Get to here. This one's going to attack a goblin. Striking out.
This how it's gonna go. We're just gonna get massacred out of it.
It rolled really badly. The other one attacks the dwarf, who does have some armor on as a marine, and it nat one. And then the big one is going to take a strike against the dwarf as well. Oh god. Oh no, okay, it didn't. It shouldn't have had advantage there. Just a normal hit. Hup. Ooh.
That's a lot.
Oh, it's because it thinks it crit. I'll just take the first one. So that's 10 hitting damage. Yeah, the dwarf takes a nasty hit as the wood, but live wood splinters just dig into her shoulder, and she grunts, "Oh, you bastard!" That brings us back to you, Pushkin.
Gonna move up to. He's like, "Don't worry, my lord. We'll stop him and feed this person. Packed protein." He's like, "Open up, lassie!" And it's fried leg of meat, and for 1 minute, target adds 1d4, and do all the check. And
damage rolls.
yeah,
Nice.
actually, he'll get here.
Roger that. Made a little note for that, and let's do. Wrong. Very cool. But the big one I took their turn too early.
Did I disconnect?
They will work together. I can hear you.
Yeah.
2 little dagger attacks. Both hit. Oh, not great damage. They do manage to start carving into this thing, just stabbing down like. Lord Ernst is like, right, I've got it in my sights now, Pushkin. Hold it steady. And he's gonna fire his shot. He rolled 1 better than last time. This time the bullet goes plop into the water behind the huge root snake. And he's just like, ah! It moved, Pushkin. Hold it still.
How to do that, my lord?
The small snakes. One's gonna attack you, Pushkin. A little bite. Does a 12 hit you?
A 12.
I feel like my portions of this campaign are like the end of Blackadder Goes Forth, and the rest of it is Blackadder 2.
Yes.
Blackadder 2's the best one, yeah.
Yeah.
Did a 12 hit you, Pushkin?
No.
Oh, very nice.
Can he see if these things look edible?
One of the go ahead and make a nature check again. One of the goblins did get hit, and the dwarf does get hit distinctly. 18. On first impression, there is like a woodenness to it, which is kind of disheartening. However, as you see the goblins and the dwarf take bladed weapons to these things, there is a lot of what looks like quite viscous sap coming out, and where the skin has been, or the bark has been cut away, there looks quite pale white flesh underneath. You think perhaps with good soaking, softening in some capacity. There's potential here.
Oh, that's going to give him some vigor. He's going to be like, dinner's up! Yeah.
Well, it is your turn.
He's going to strike out at one of the little ones with his rapier.
Oh, the Pushkin Rapier. What? 20 hits.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll damage as you spear this thing. Woo!
Oh!
Boosh! You cut a huge shot, like scoring all the way down, and as it splits, there is a fragrance similar to the blue fruit that you took from the plant before that fills your feline nostrils.
Pushkin's just like, yeah, I'll slice and dice you. Pre-preparation.
The large creature seems very disturbed by your strike, Pushkin, and is going to make an attack at you. He's going to try and constrict you.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's the stupid advantage thing. No, it's the first number. So 23 does hit, but it's not the crit damage. It's just normal damage. I'll change them to roll without critting. But still, 13 damage, and you are grappled as it writhes its form around you and squeezes your bulk. It's
Take me, my lord!
Restrained as well.
Oh, yeah, very good. Whatever, it's fine. We can just take the first number. Restrained as well. Here we go. Zython isn't doing anything. The Marine's like, hold on, I got you! And it's going to make an attack against the big one. Hits. Gets the extra d4 of damage as well. 8, 12 damage, not bad. Yeah, scores a meaningful hit with the Marine Saber. Goblins. I think they're just going to call out to you, Pushkin. They're just like, should we keep killing the little ones or help you?
Kill the little ones and then deal with the big ones. If I die, you can eat my body.
With that, one of the goblins looks you up and down and kind of slightly licks its lips, and then immediately strikes with a fury and critically hits against the snake in front of it.
I
D4
like to
creature.
think that inspired him.
Yeah. 4, 3, 7. 2. Yeah, this little one's going down. Nearly dead. You can see the root snake itself starting to shudder and try to back away. Lord Ernst is like, it's all part of the fun, Pushkin. It wouldn't be a story without a little danger. And then he's going to fire his rifle. He rolled a 3, which brings it down to a 2. But it's only a natural 1 or a 2, in which case it's going to hit you. But this one does fly past one of your furry ears and go skimming off the surface of the water into the underbrush. Just like, I'm getting closer, hold on! This thing is going to disengage and retreat back into the water and submerge itself. This one is going to attack goblins, and this one's going to attack the dwarf. 1 and 2. First number, 17 and 22 both hit. This could be bad for the goblin.
God.
Yep. This one just dives right in and digs deep into the throat of one of the goblins. And before I forget, let's have a look at the passenger manifest. The Tick family. Where are we? Could someone please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could someone roll a d6 for me? Oh, no, a d4. It wouldn't be the kid.
My herbalist better not be fighting.
For number
She
1.
knows better.
No, I'm afraid it is the father of the family.
Oh.
Takes the hit. The dangerous world. 25. Tick-tar.
I thought it was getting better than it.
Yep.
It's still going better than I thought it would.
Gotta get that fruit. But yeah, you just hear a gurgling, retching as the throat is torn out of this goblin, and the others just call out in goblin, clearly dismayed. And the dwarf does get hit as well. Oh my god. Oh wait, no, that's rolling for a crit, I think, yeah. No, it's not. Oh god. The dwarf is looking pretty bad. Looking pretty bad. It's just like swinging the sword like, yeah, fuck, and you can just see blood seeping into the soil on the ground.
Oh
Pushkin,
god!
back to you. One of the root snake things has retreated into the water, leaving a trail of this thick sap on the surface.
Does he know if they have ranged weapons?
He hasn't seen any, unless he wants them to throw the daggers. That's certainly possible.
Oh fuck! No. Pushkin's gonna be like, "Everybody run! I can take these fools!" And he's gonna try and break out of restrained.
Yep, go ahead. DC is not very high. Oh, actually, it's quite high. 16.
Oh fuck! Oh!
Oh! With your feline strength, you push up your fur and push out. Brr! And there's just enough space to wriggle free. Very nice.
Back. Give us what for?
The large thing now looks down at the little dwarf in front of it, already flagging, and makes its attack. It's gonna just try and bite. Up. First roll. Only a 9! Dwarf manages to throw themselves down onto the floor to the side. And that's its turn.
Before Xiphon's turn, Pushkin's gonna yell out, "Come out of the woods, you craven! He gave his life for the colony, and you back behind. Why don't turn to the water where you can hide, big man?"
Oh my god! Roll intimidation check with advantage.
No.
Oh. In a language you don't understand, it just starts angrily, clearly swearing at you, just like, and then just stomps off further back into the undergrowth. The dwarf. You said to back up, right?
Well, he did say, so it might affect it. I'll stay and fight, and he has stayed. He didn't run all the way, but he's sort of like, I don't know. I think it looks like he's kind of got her back, but obviously he didn't want to be crushed by the snake.
Yeah, the dwarf, in the state that she's in, and she's a professional, she is going to disengage and move back to join you. And it's just like, oh, these things fucking hurt. What's the plan? The goblins. I'm going to do a wisdom save for a couple of them. Well, they both roll quite well. They hold themselves. This one is just furiously gonna... Actually, no. It's going to disengage and move back. They passed their wisdom save, so I'm going to punish them for it. Lord Ernst. Completely wrapped up in trophy hunting and seemingly ignorant of the goblin that has died for his idiotic cause. It's just aiming the rifle once more, finished reloading it. It's just like, this time, I'm going to take off GM rolling so we can all ride the roller coaster that is Lord Ernst roll. 13 hits! He's got a fancy musket as well. Oh my god. So solid 1 damage there.
Oh, fuck me.
He blasts at the big one, and it's going right for the head, and his eyes are practically filled with stars. Just like, this is my moment. And the bullet just pings off the top of it, and his face falls, just like, oh. And the smaller... Oh, I've taken it because it's that one's on the GM layer. That's fine. It's the smaller ones now. These two are going to move up to the Lord. Somewhere out there, Salia is laughing her ass off.
Oh yeah, 100%.
First one misses. Second one does hit, even with the Lord's breastplate. 5 damage. Oosh. The Lord lets out an incredibly dramatic shriek as the small root pierces deep into his calf, and you can see blood jetting out the side as it retreats, bloodying his fancy clothes. Pushkin, what do you do?
Pushkin's going like, Milo, no! And they dive in to try and help him. Rapier.
Very good. 23 definitely hits. No, 8 damage. Very nice.
He's gonna move around, seeing the big one coming. He's like,
The big one does indeed slither up towards you, Pushkin. It opens up its mouth, and it's going to try and bite you this time.
well,
23 to hit.
yeah.
9 piercing damage.
Okay.
As it chomps down on your left arm. Zython's just gone entirely at this point. The Marine, seeing your bravery, dives back in as well. Hup. Plus 5 to this, definitely hits. Plus the d4, so d8 plus d4. Ooh, 10, 12. I'll be damned. The saber swings down and slices a big chunk that just flops off the side of this large root snake. And you can see, similar to the one before that retreated into the water, this huge one begins to shudder and recoil slightly. You think it might be thinking twice. Goblins, they are going to keep their distance. They pass their wisdom save, they're not fools. But they will throw their daggers at the big one, seeing as it seems to be the biggest threat. 1, 2, 3. Only a +2 to each of these. 27 and 7, so 2 miss. Yeah. Interesting. Lord Ernst immediately abandons his fancy rifle, just clatters to the ground, and with he just crawls backwards, disengaging and scurrying on all fours to behind the goblins. It's just like, save your lord! Definitely prone.
Oh, that gif is too much.
Oh god, I want to see. One's gonna go for the dwarf, one's gonna go for Pushkin. On the dwarf. Bitey bite. 11 misses. On Pushkin. Bitey bite.
Come on.
17.
That hits.
8 piercing damage.
Oh god! The pain!
As again it sinks these protrusions, these spikes deep into your flesh. No poison though. It is your turn, Pushkin.
Pushkin. You're like, oh! And, he's gonna attack this one.
Oh, he's still going! What a monster.
He's trying to die here at least. Oh god.
Twin twos! Tell you what, for Pushkin's heroics, you can have inspiration. Reroll that. Reroll that.
Oh god.
He's being a badass.
12.
A 12 on these things does hit, just.
Thank fuck.
Ooh, good damage.
Oh fuck, it's not dead.
It's not dead, but again, that shuddering, recoiling motion. The large one turns, almost like seeking the blood, and grabs the leg, completely engulfing the lower half of the father, whose name I've already forgotten. The father goblin, and drags him back into the water.
Oh fuck.
Whoosh. Zython's long gone. The Marine, inspired. Actually, I'm going to do an intelligence check. Does she realize that this one is going to retreat as well? She does. So she's going to move here and attack the other one. In fact, she's a professional. She's going to flank with you, Pushkin. Whoa. +5 to this. 14 hits. Still has your D4 and a D8 +3 rather. So nice, 12 damage. This Marine's been doing work. Whoosh. This thing still isn't shuddering though. Goblins, they're just gonna throw fucking improvised crap from the ground at the last set of snakes. 2, 3. One of them hits. We'll just do a straight D4. 1 damage! Every little helps. Lord Ernst, peeking out from behind the goblin, just points at the remaining one that's attacking and just goes, "Kill it! Kill it now!"
Oh god.
I'm gonna roll to see who it goes for. On a D4. 1, 2, the dwarf. 3, 4, Pushkin. It's gonna make an attack against you, Pushkin.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
Comes the nat
Huh.
20.
The leftmost thing, 25.
No, yeah.
He's fucking dead.
9 damage to you, Pushkin. As it digs its strange mouth parts into your chest.
No!
Pushkin goes tumbling to the ground. Could you make a death saving throw for me, Pushkin? Will the brave Pushkin... one step closer. Oops, sorry, you did it. Very good. Yeah, Pushkin lying on the ground, the rapier spilled out of his hand. No sign of the large root or Zython. The Marine. It's a professional, I'm not going to do a wisdom save. Strikes down once more. +5 to this. Oh, misses! That's real bad! Goblins. Well, the herbalist does have some healing capabilities. But this thing's scary. Do a wisdom save for bravery. The herbalist, Salia's herbalist, steps up to Pushkin, putting herself in danger. Is going to make a medicine check. You definitely have a good modifier to this, so I'll say a +6.
Close to the 20.
14. I can never remember the DC for this, for stabilizing. Is it 12? Thank you, Natalie. You are stabilized, Pushkin. She frantically patches your wounds using things from her satchel, different herbs, and the other two goblins, seeing a family member potentially in danger, will form up next to her and are gonna just make unarmed attacks. against this thing. Both missing. Lord Ernst has seen Pushkin go down. I'm just gonna do a straight d20. 11 or above, he's gonna rally. 10 or below, he's gonna break. Okay. He's like, oh, I can do this.
Oh.
One you Quivershank. And he's gonna stand up, and he's gonna stride in, going into the goblin space for a moment, and he's gonna pull a very ornate-looking rapier from his side. Make an attack. His dex is -1. So actually, just yeah, this is +2. Oh, he hit. -1 to this. 5 damage. Is it over its threshold yet? Boy. And on the smaller root's turn, this one pulls itself back into the water beneath the waves. As does the other, with the Lord Ernst strike being enough to fend it off and return these horrible plant, creature, whatever they are, back to their hiding lair in ambush. The Marine goes to Pushkin, starts dragging you back, and the group of you remove yourselves from this clearing.
Eleanor's gonna fucking slaughter this entire fucking, like...
Oh, it's a very real possibility. Where are we? This one. Right, back on the main map. So that was here.
I
With
just want to point out Pushkin's journey into this island has been, oh look, some apes. Oh look, a big bush. Oh god!
Oh, I love him so much. You are dragged back, Pushkin, and brought back to your senses within, say, an hour. Safely away from the clearing. You see, actually, Zython would be nowhere to be seen. Would have headed back. You see the remaining goblins looking very aggrieved. The shock of losing their family member setting in. But you see the Marine cleaning herself of blood and what have you, and Lord Ernst looking quite shaky and unsure of himself as you come to your senses.
He's like, did we get the food?
The Marine gives you a little shake of the head, and Lord Ernst is just like, "Oh, Pushkin, you're awake? Wonderful. I wanted your input on what we would be doing next. Would you think it's right to go on, or should we head back?"
We must go on for the sake of the colony.
Your horrible wounds apparent for all to see. He's just like, well, what if there's something else that's aggressive?
If we don't go on, we will succumb to hunger anyway. We must press on for everyone else, not just us. But we get the food first.
Thank you, Natalie. Lord Quivershank kind of steels himself a little bit. You can see he hasn't collected his gun. He has got the rapier and he's clutching it in one hand, like a safety blanket. Just like, right. Well, we'll have to have some stern words with that Zython. What a rotten character, eh? Fleeing at the first sign of danger, not like us. The true nobility of New Quivershank.
What was he hired for anyway?
Well, well, they live in the ocean, don't they? And we were going on the ocean. I thought perhaps, it would help.
As long as he wasn't hired for combat.
Well, no, I didn't think the jungle would fight back. But as you say, let's take a wide berth around the clearing. But push on.
Yes, let's push on.
So, which was the next hexagon you were going to?
This one.
Okay. You head on into this hexagon. What's Pushkin's passive perception?
His wisdom's 14, so
That's not bad.
he's got proficient in. He's got a
Yeah.
+4, so is that like a 12?
Your passive would be 14.
Oh, 14. Yeah, it's 14.
Okay. With your passive being a 14, then, gathering your depleted party, the goblins respect you, Pushkin, though they are fragile in their morale and mourning, certainly. There is some brief talk of trying to find the body of their lost family member, but it is quickly put aside. But as you head into this next area, pushing through miles of jungle, the Marine now somewhat emboldened, guess the adrenaline still running high, taking a bit of the lead. You see as the Marine chops away some of the foliage, evidence of what looks like a very thick, stringy web strung between two large trees. Looks like the end of a web, and as your eyes follow it up into the canopy above, you see a lot more evidence of these webs. They look huge. Each strand as thick as your arm, and in multiple different places in the canopy above you.
Jim be like, we have to avoid this area. There's probably giant spiders here. Look at him. And he'd look for a way to go that they sort of, lessen.
Okay, make a survival check for me, please. Ooh. Okay, 19. With that, you do manage to see. You sort of follow the ridge line around, avoiding the thickness of these webs, and with the I've forgotten the word. With the height, you're able to look out, and you can see the end of the jungle does break, maybe only a couple of miles away, and you can see trundling across the grassland in the distance herds of tumblers moving along. With a 19, you do manage to avoid the steel weave spider webs that poor Eleanor didn't.
What are tumblers again?
And you're able to navigate around, but it is very much coming to the end of the day at this point. The light is fading.
What are tumblers again, Tom?
Tumblers are animals kind of like buffalo or wildebeest that are hunted for food, but they're quite preciously protected. So typical Hespian settlements don't hunt them.
Yeah.
They rely more on agriculture. The tumblers are hunted more by Aarakocra and Centaur tribes who hunt them sustainably. They are mostly docile and keep to themselves, but when angered, they can be quite vicious. They've got spines along their backs, and their name is from, if they are threatened and want to attack something, they will essentially stampede or charge towards it and then somersault and bring those spines to bear against whatever they're being threatened by.
Awesome. Thank you.
Pushkin would point out at the tumblers, and he was like, yeah, the journey was worth it.
swaying on his feet.
Yeah.
Lord Ernst is like, I don't have my gun, Pushkin. I didn't bring my spare either. What? How are we going to bring the beasts down?
I heard. Well, he kind of surveys. Can you see any like big cliff faces or anything?
You're pretty much on top of a line of cliffs or a very steep embankment where you are now.
He wanted to do what people did with mammoths, where they chase them off,
Drive
and
them
then-
over.
Yeah, but seeing as they're on the hill, that doesn't actually work.
Imagining the camera zooming out and Pushkin saying, "Shit!" It's so fucking funny.
How many people would one tumbler feed?
Whoa. One tumbler for like a solid meal in a day. Fucking 20, 25, 30 people.
Still not enough though.
Yeah.
He would ask the goblins, do they know about, driving them? Like, can you drive them around? Could we somehow drive them back to the settlement? So they're over here, not over here.
Yeah, the goblins would say traditionally goblinoid culture, they don't really move from the forest. They don't have tumblers as such. But there have been some elements, particularly of the hobgoblin side of things, who have essentially driven a herd using sound and kind of the lay of the land to steer them in a certain direction, and corralled them and kept them nearby the tree line to use as a food source.
Pushkin is going to suggest that the next day they should somehow try and push them through the forest so they're over near us, not through the forest. He doesn't know how to do that, but it seems like the only thing that would like if they get one tumbler, it's only going to help for like a day.
Yeah. Incredible. So you settle down for the evening?
Yep.
Very good. Can I have anyone, just roll a simple d6 for me? Odd number, Zython died on his escape, and even number, he survived. He is not very capable, and he's running through the jungle alone.
God.
Well, he's dead. We'll see if anyone ends up finding his body. Fantastic. So as Pushkin settles down for the night, we now are all at the same time frame. Salia and the Burgomaster, you have returned. You don't see Pushkin or the Lord. A few, like a marine, some of the goblins. Your herbalist isn't around, Salia. People, there's starting to be grumbling. There's some bickering in the camp. People fighting over the scant number of fish that have been caught from the small element that are vaguely capable fisher people. Is there anything Salia or the Burgomaster would do?
Yes. There's no sign of the other Sari. Did she come back with I can't remember his name.
Icky and a group of about 10 others. No, there's no sign of them at all.
Okay. I think Salia would just spend the night then trying to decide for who wants to come on the next one, where they're gonna go down here.
Mm-hmm.
Just get some fresh bodies, I guess. And bring as much food as we can, even though there's none.
Yeah, very good. Burgomaster, nothing? No? He's just hanging. Excellent. Well, the night passes. We move into day 8 of the expedition. The weather is clear and dry. It's the 3rd day on the island. Been some interesting happenings already. I'll start with Salia and the Burgomaster. Is there anything either of you would be doing on this day? You would see as you're waking up that there's quite a bit of unrest within the camp. A lot of grumbling. Some people starting to have quite loud, angry conversations.
I was picturing him coming out of the tent in like an old-timey Victorian adventurer's outfit in like a pith helmet and khakis.
Like the jelly guy
Amazing.
from Cormier.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
We're going to
Talia-
start a jelly cave.
Sally would otherwise be going around sort of calming people down. She'd try and, I think, in her own way as well, want to start making a boat out of the big boat. She'd want people to start on that. She'll say,
Oh.
well, clearly we need, clearly fishing is going to be quite important. Maybe we should all build our own little boat and make sure we can get out there a bit easier.
Yeah, make a persuasion check for me, please.
Would you? When it loads.
No worries.
Ah, damn.
You get mixed responses. Some people are on board. Some people are really desperate to do something. They're scared and they want to do something to try and make things look a lot less bleak. So they're on board. But you also get quite a lot of pushback. Some people being like, "This is ridiculous. We haven't got time to make boats. So we need to eat. My kid hasn't eaten for 24 hours. Like, what are we gonna do?" And they very much are sort of looking towards you and the Burgomaster. The Burgomaster would 100% have people like shouting out at him from nearby tents and such, just
Well-
saying like,
I was going to say he'd sort of come out and be like, "Oh, beautiful morning, the Brutus under one arm." And you'd see the fact that there's all this ruckus going on. And I was going to say he would sort of be like, "Oh, now then, everybody," etc. Can I do a performance check, please?
yeah, absolutely.
And then I'll tell you what I'm about to do. I'm going to make a speech to try and rally everybody.
God.
I'm rubbing my hands together. Oh,
And before
I'm
you
ready.
say it, no, I'm not actually doing it. Because I can't think. But
That's all right. Give me the gist.
it's just like,
If
and
he
now that we
succeeds,
are
just-
in the... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, if he succeeds, you should give him the inspirational leader feat.
Yeah, what's the gist?
The gist is about we all need to learn to work together, and whatever the problem is not insurmountable.
There's no food!
Well, it's not insurmountable. Get creative. And chop chop, I'm hungry.
The DC just
Lose
jumped
that.
up at the end there. People, yeah, make a dexterity saving throw for me, Burgomaster.
I'm a thinker, not a doer.
That's enough. A lazily thrown rock just sails past your head and you dodge out of the way of it as you just hear a lot of angry shouting from the crowd.
Why would you waste that perfectly good food?
So it was a rock.
I know, that's the joke.
We need to eat!
They are a local delicacy.
You're the leaders. You got to sort something out.
Seems like everyone needs to put their thinking hats on. Survivalists. What do they do to eat food?
I didn't pick any survivalists, Salia.
Well, no, but you did pick an archer, didn't you? Maybe,
Make a fair
maybe they can shoot down some of these birds. There's still plenty of options around.
I
You know.
suggest that perhaps we... Wait, didn't I pick a chef as well? Or did he die?
Pushkin's the chef.
No, I'm sure I had a cook because I was like building my little utopia.
Your utopia was all artists, poets,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
sculptors
but
and a librarian, and half of them died.
Yeah, I'm aware. Thank you for killing off all of my crew, Tom.
Hey,
Um,
dice spoke.
Yeah, huh?
Oh, Portia's
he-
got the archer.
He'd just be like, well, why don't we use our initiative and take a couple of hours and go and search the forest and see if we can find any small animals or berries?
No,
etc.
Burgomaster. The forest is dangerous. But we should search around where we are and
So is not
In the
having
nearby
any
bush.
food, Salia.
Well, I mean, yes. Yeah, I mean, she just give suggestions. I mean, let me
I
look
just
up
imagine
the tallest climber.
you expect this to last long in a famine?
Insects are edible. Find as many berries as you can.
Ugh.
We've already figured out the ones, some of them
I'm
that
not
are not.
eating peasant food. Find me some kind of native creature. I don't care if it's, if it's sentient or otherwise. Just find me something to eat.
If you find it yourself, Burgomaster, you can eat it. How about that?
No, because that's not how this is going to work.
Well,
It's
it is
like
today
you're not
because we
listening.
need to. I'm not
I
listening.
do think you do hunt. Yes? Yes?
Jesus Christ. People are watching this exchange really closely, by the way.
So Alia just crosses her arms as she's walking away from him. It's just no.
He'd just shrug and be like, there's no speaking to some people.
What
She would-
does he do? Does he just stand there, or does he go back into his tent, or what?
He'd just be like, and just go back into his tent.
Okay. Quite a lot
Salia-
of
Sorry.
murmuring. No, yeah. Murmuring at the Burgomaster's attitude.
Wait,
Well,
you said to do something to
Burgomaster.
get us in the history books. I don't think this is what I intended to do. I just know he's an idiot and he's very self-centered, and this is possibly the last session, so I can just do whatever the fuck I like. with it.
You're thinking.
While the Burgomaster sulks, Salia will try and go around sort of showing people where there could be food. So, like insects, ant mounds, birds, anything really. Berries.
Yeah.
I don't think the Burgomaster's sulking so much as just genuinely confused as to why you won't do it for.
In his brain, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's just like, but I am the smart man, and this is a lowly peasant girl. Why does she not do what I tell her to?
Yeah. So Sally is
Maybe
saying
the
that to like.
archer, but-
Okay. The archer nods and kind of sets out with a small group to try and gather what they can from perhaps birds
Yeah.
or easily hunted things. But the archer does tell you in kind of hushed tones, like, I'm not a hunter. I was a fletcher and an archer as like a hobby almost, like to make sure our wares were good. I wasn't ever a hunter, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, it's a shame. My one's dead.
Yeah.
I don't really have any others. All the goblins are gone.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at
That's okay.
Porsche's.
People spread out and try and sort of comb the landscape for things to eat. People come back with assortments of various things, insects, some juicy looking grubs, but not too much. Although about halfway through the day, a small group pipes up. Some of the children have found what looks like little burrows into the ground. And they say, maybe there's things inside. We could eat them.
Yeah, Sally will come and have a look, see what animal she thinks it is.
You can make a nature check.
Fine.
9. It's fairly sizable. It looks like an adult couldn't squeeze into the burrow, but a kid could. So whatever creature's in there has got some size to it. You're not 100% sure. You could guess something
Maybe
like
get the shepherds over. Maybe they know.
Yeah. You call them over. Everyone's kind of strung out across a wide area, but it doesn't take long to gather them up. They take a look and kind of talk amongst themselves. You see them shaking their heads, and eventually they come back over to you and just say, "It's bigger than any burrow I've seen back on Hespia. About twice the size."
Maybe it's worth observing. See if it's a herbivore, carnivore. If it's herbivore, maybe we can breed it.
Kind of nods.
Yeah. Your shepherds, you know your stuff. You don't know
Well, we've been feeling it a bit of a loose end, really. The the livestock didn't survive the journey. So
No.
we're as shepherds without a flock.
Well, let's hope this is a herbivore. You can make this your flock.
Kind of nervous laughter as everyone tries to make conversation to cover the sound of their stomachs rumbling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You spread out, and with your encouragement and direction for people, some small amount of food is scraped enough to kind of vaguely subsist, but many are going without. Parents are going without to make sure their children have food and so on. And it takes the whole day just to get a small amount to keep some people ticking over. And the arch does return with a few strung up birds, but once you get down between all the sort of tropical plumage, there's not actually much flesh to go by.
Small meats.
Yeah.
Don't worry, everyone. Plishkin's coming to save the day. The great tumbler wrangle.
Yeah, but sure. Also, Sally will be trying to reassure people. We've got 2 groups out. They'll find some food, in that way. And that they're about to go out as well. Probably. Maybe the next day, actually. Considering the time now.
Yeah, that effort would take the day. Pushkin, you're awake. Freshly revitalized, your body battered and bruised and aching, waking with the incessant noise of the jungle around you. Lord Ernst is sleeping in. The Marine is sharpening her equipment and casting about, and kind of has a bit of a bitter word with you, and just says, feels a bit ill-fated, the whole expedition, don't you think?
The expedition is what we make of it, my dear. Don't blame anyone else but yourself. I'm certainly blaming myself quite considerably.
Kind of gives you a grim nod, just like, be nice to catch a break. What's the plan with the herd?
Well, I read a lot of books, and I believe we could rustle them back to town, as it were.
All right, okay. Kind of thinks it through. Goblins gather around as well. They're just like, I think we can get them moving without too much trouble, but keeping up with them might be an issue. Often, well, there's a reason it's the centaur and the flying folk that usually hunt the tumblers. They're pretty fast once they get going. We don't have any ways to keep up with them.
When they get going, do they proceed in a straight line?
My understanding is it's kind of the will of the herd itself. If the land has a natural funnel or direction to it, then they will act as a herd. They won't spread out. They'll be like a large block of them moving. I suppose away from what scared them or rustled them, as you say, makes sense. But they're not stupid creatures. They can avoid or move around obstacles and such.
What we should do first is survey the land. Make sure we're funneling them towards where we're actually going.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Has Pushkin got a decent survival stat?
Decent. It's not
Yeah.
like...
Well, make a survival check with advantage then. The goblins would be doing a good job of helping you.
Oh, fuck.
No, you had advantage. That's 23.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, the goblins were helping. So, they have to correct a few of the things that you point out, Pushkin. You're just like, yes, it goes up over there, and they're like, no, that's down. It's like down over there. Oh, but with a 23, you feel like you managed to get a pretty good lay of the land. In general, as you'd expect, the land slopes down towards the coast, towards the sea. But there are sort of rolling hills between where you are and there, and you think probably maybe you could send some people ahead and have people at crucial points, and it'll be up to them to kind of redirect the herd using the natural rolling nature of the hills to keep the tumblers moving in the right direction.
That's exactly what he'd want. But he'd also want the Lord with him, because he'd be like, my Lord, if this works out, it shall be the greatest act on the Serrated Isles since we landed.
The Lord, who has emerged from his tent munching away at food that he's had stored about his person, while the rest of you have had to forage. It's just like, I can feel it in my bones, Pushkin. We the leaders, must break the glum outlook of this place. The great leaders of history haven't shied away from challenges, and that will be us. Pushkin and Lord Quivershank. Our names will be written into history.
And even if we fail, they will still be written into history. As brave souls!
His face kind of drops slightly with that. He's like, yeah, well, what? No, it's no point thinking that way. I'm sure we've got this. It'll be fine. And he kind of smiles widely at the Marine, who just gives him a very deadpan look back at him.
Yes. How hard could it be?
Okay. So, you've got a limited number of people, but you've got a few to your group. We're just gonna have to fucking map this out. Let's get a token to represent the tumblers. I choose Chuck because he's the best. So, your initial attempt to... Well, okay, so the goblins are sent on ahead, right? And the Marine?
Yeah, they're sort of surveying the land, making sure there's natural dips, like, in a way that they'll naturally flow. He's not expecting anyone to jump in the way, because that won't work.
Yep. Okay. So gets to about midday. You think everyone's kind of in position. Everyone has got enough implements with them to make a loud. These memes are the fucking best. Everyone has enough with them to make a loud sound, whether it's like hit striking a hollow branch or striking steel against stone, in a hope to redirect the tumblers if they don't follow the hills as hoped for. What is Pushkin and Lord Quivershank? What are Pushkin and Lord Quivershank doing to get them moving initially? Just surveying out, there looks to be 100+ tumblers in this herd. It's a large herd.
Pushkin is going to use his alchemy jug
Ooh.
to
Make mayonnaise.
start leading them off with, God, what were they like? Probably honey.
Yeah, something sweet.
He's going to start making a trail of honey in the way that he wants them to go.
Okay. And the Lord is like, what do you want me to do, Pushkin? Shall I drive them from behind with my booming voice?
Yes, my lord, you should go around back and make as much noise as possible. And follow the honey.
Alright. The honey's a clever idea. You don't need to roll for that. Some of the tumblers do start to sniff and look at the honey, and they start to gather round, and the herd naturally kind of forms a teardrop shape as the side with the honey on begins to pull off in that direction. The Lord, this is a really important role, goes to the back of the group and just starts like making himself look big and going back and forth and just being like, "Come on now, tumblers, move it, let's go!" Ah! And clapping and making a big sound. Oh God, I need to do 2 checks for him. First is
Oh,
survival
man.
or nature, so he doesn't like start threatening the tumbler calves and get absolutely fucking obliterated. This will be a low DC. I will say it is DC 8.
God.
He's not a wise fella. I'll say it's a straight roll. DC 8.
Ooh!
Hey! By
Fuck.
luck or by skill, he manages to find a position which is actually flanked by the large cliffs that you were stood on before, and so his voice is actually going to echo out fantastically for this. So I'm going to make his performance check with advantage. Okay. So, even with the booming cliffs, his sounds are just all over the shop, and he doesn't react to the herd responding to his sounds. And so, with their echoing off, the herd just starts milling about and looking quite uncomfortable. He hasn't put himself in any danger yet, but you notice as the teardrop shapes forming, pulling, like stringing out along your honey trail, that the back of the herd just doesn't seem to be shifting at all.
But it's still going, right?
It's starting to go with your honey trail, yeah, but it is slow. How much honey does the alchemy jug make?
Mm,
Infinite honey.
a gallon. So they're like 5 liters.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So with a little trail, you could take that for quite a while. The problem here is that none of the tumblers are getting into like a gallop or a run. They're all just kind of wandering forward and licking away at this interesting substance.
Annoying he doesn't have his gun.
Yeah. Oh, the gun would have been fucking easy.
Pershkin's gonna call back. He's like, "My lord, you need to put more into it."
What do you mean, Pushkin? My voice is booming, booming, booming.
Imagine what you'd say to the person who killed Elsie.
Ooh, the voice doesn't come back, and there's like an uncomfortable silence as the sound of the tumblers munching away on the honey-soaked grass, occasionally braying to each other. And he's just like, you hear the voice start up again. Listen here, rapscallion! You destroyed a figure of beauty and wonder, and she was a lovely friend as well, and she made me feel better. And the voice kind of dies a little bit, but I'll make a performance check for him. Huh.
Ah!
Oh my god! The
I'm
voice.
sorry. I don't mean to laugh. That was actually really adorable at the end. But it's the way you keep saying it's really funny.
He's a very comedic figure.
I'm also still laughing at the booming.
So as it dies down, it suddenly kicks up again, and he's just like, How dare you take her away? She was young, she had so much to give. She could have been anything she wanted to be! And he calls out really loudly, and it echoes off, and you see the ears of the tumblers prick up, and a lot of braying sounds, and you see the herd begin to move and shift. Some of the ones at the back clearly uncomfortable and pushing at the ones in front of them, and the whole thing begins to start to move. Very good.
Yeah.
The tumbler herd starts to take off, and it's very much like a snowball rolling down a mountain. As the ones at the back push against the ones at the front, they speed up, and then the ones at the back want to follow faster and faster and faster, and before long the stampede is going. You're driving them which way? Straight up?
He's going to try and curve them round.
Oh,
doesn't-
yeah.
He doesn't think going through the forest is a good idea.
Yeah, that's wise. Let's get the old Quivershank music back on. Okay. As the tumblers stampede forth, the ground rumbles, and you see little stones skittering across the ground as the tumblers begin their journey. As they make it up to this point, the natural curve in the hills helps them move towards where you want them to go. Everything's set up quite nicely. The natural flow of the ground is going to give the first goblin advantage on their performance check. They need to make a, let's say a 12 or higher. Very nice. You hear in the distance the echoing sound of a goblin shrieking, "Ah!" and like leaping back and forth. You see this tiny little speck on the hillside, throwing stones down at the herd, who like move off to the side. They move into this space where the Gilly Beer boys are lounging around next to the fucking stones. The tumbler just comes steaming through. I'm gonna make a general save for them. Now they're apes, they can move, so I'll give them a +3 to this. DC 10. They make it. They manage to scramble out of the way. The apes running back into the tree line and peering around the trees at the sight of the tumblers stampeding forth. So on to the next one. So we need another actually, it's the same direction, really. So I'll say the DC on this one is only 5. With advantage.
Pushkin at this point's right, oh my god, it's kind of working.
It's actually happening! Lord Ernst doesn't have that at all. It's just like, another excellent bit of work from Pushkin and Lord Quivershank. The dream team. As the tumblers move on. Now, it will take Pushkin a while to catch up with this, the best part of the rest of the day. But you do eventually, and you see, as the tumblers have moved through this space, just double check my notes. So that is Q123. It is what I think it is, because I've made a note on the map. Oh my god. Okay. I'll roll. I don't want anyone else to be responsible for this. Set a DC in my head. Okay. Oh god. Okay. And on the other side of this, this is quite an important one, so it would have been a dwarf that went here. She can be very loud. She's got some armor and weapons to clang together. So again, we'll set a low DC. We'll say you're on the coast now. Say a DC of 8 with advantage. Oh god. She does manage to get the tumblers to move as they curve around the edge of the jungle, and on towards your people. Those back at the camp, the ground begins to rumble. You can hear like a starting to kick up, and you see a group of your people that have been out scouting in the grassland to the northwest just come sprinting back like, there's a stampede! Tumblers are coming! As the herd just comes hurtling towards the camp.
Oh, hell yeah, made it!
Thought this might have a look.
Is there anything Salia or the Burgomaster would do with this knowledge?
It's the food, it's coming!
Open wide!
Think I found your flock, shepherds.
Shepherds just look at you like, nuh-uh, fuck that.
These are known to be pretty dangerous, I assume.
Oh yeah, you don't get in the way of a tumbler stampede.
Yeah, so is there like, have we got any barricades up already, or not really?
Not really. Toria has done some work erecting barricades, but she's focused more on getting watch routines in place and so on.
Is there any form of like barricade, like wood anywhere? Can we use this? We can't use the ship; it's too far away. But I
It's-
assume we brought some wood with us. wouldn't we?
You've got plenty of wood from the ship. The problem is the tumblers are moving so fast. They're going to be here before
Ah.
you're able to erect any real barricades.
It's not.
I more
It's
just
not a wrecking
mean-
one. I mean, just running behind whatever pile of wood we've got.
Running behind? What do you mean?
So if we've got like a giant pile of wood waiting to be put up,
Yeah.
just walk from behind that.
Oh, I see.
Taking cover.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is some cover, but certainly not enough for the like 50 people you have
Oh,
in the
yeah.
encampment currently.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just run. Literally just run, and yeah, I guess so.
Do you-
Just gonna stand in the sort of herd them away, I guess.
Do you warn the other people?
Oh yeah, fucking shouting it out.
Everyone's just moaning about food, and then it's like, fucking scatter!
Yeah.
Oh my god. What does the Burgomaster do? Does he stay in his tent? He doesn't have binoculars. Cool.
Yeah, he'd
Scatter,
probably be there
scatter.
just like shouting at people, being like, "You, that one, yes, shoot it, I'm stabbed in the head, boy." Without, and then people would be like, "You could always do it yourself," and he'd be like, "No, I wouldn't want to take the job away from you."
Yeah, scatter for everyone, and then I assume the Marines are nearby.
Yeah, there's still
Yeah.
plenty of Marines.
Get your shields out, fucking make some noise, all
Yeah.
the things.
They got guns. Some of the cannons have
Yeah.
been taken off the boat as well.
Fire at a few of them, get some food, yeah, go for it.
Okay. What? And did you say Salia was going to try and deflect them?
She's just gonna stand in the way of like all the puny people.
Okay. Make an intimidation check,
Oh, okay.
and I'll do some marine fire. Hitting moving targets. I'll say 15 armor class.
Can I use athletics intimidation?
Yeah, it's about your strength. In fact, that's arguably more appropriate for intimidating animals.
Yeah.
15. So one hit, and the cannons. Cannons is a different matter. 'Cause you're just fucking trying to hit a massive blob of animals. So I'll just roll to see how much damage they do. Yeah, got an idea in my head. Oh, it did real bad. 16 athletics. That's enough to part many of the tumblers that are coming towards you. But the tumblers themselves, some elements of the herd are deflected off by the loud bangs of the cannons, which completely fail to hit a massive herd of tumbler, which is pretty impressive. But some of the Marines take pot shots, and you see some of the tumblers stumble and crash into the ground as they're running. But the majority of this herd is not deflected at all and just stampedes through the camp, utterly destroying tents, all manner of organized goods and everything. Many piles of goods are just stomped and shattered completely into the ground. With your help, Salia, with that check, you managed to avoid any of the more vulnerable or slow-moving people getting hurt. I will say... I'll say any lower than a 7, and some people are going to get hurt, because this is pretty nasty. Ah, fuck.
Oh.
I'll say this many people.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll roll for that in a second. And then, Burgomaster, can you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please? Yep. DC 10. Oh. How much health does the Burgomaster
Oh,
have?
the 7 is me. Fuck.
30. Let's leave it down to the dice, shall we?
Hope we didn't kill anybody.
7 people dead.
Yeah, similarly to how I didn't really want being a dickhead to be my legacy, I don't want my legacy to be first person to die in New Quivershank.
2d6. 7.
Oh yeah, no, fair point. Actually, go ahead, kill him.
I'll say 8d6, which is an average of Average of 28 damage. So it could kill you, but it could not. Here's the first 4. That's 11. Looking pretty good. There you go, you're fine. The Burgomaster gets smashed around like a fucking spinning top, bouncing off various other things as he comes out of his tent, just like, what's going on? And then just fucking just bouncing off the different tumblers as they go past. None of them manage to hit you with their tumble. They don't see you as a threat. They just see you as an obstacle. Bouncing around. Brutus, I haven't got the heart to kill off Brutus. Brutus just fucking goes flying up in the air like a goddamn cartoon, yipping and yelping in the air, and lands on top of your hat as you're spinning around. But you do manage to survive, though you are knocked and badly bloodied on the ground. It's so good. And the herd does passes through the camp and keeps going, eventually losing momentum and stopping nearby. Pushkin's idea.
Oh,
Pushkin's idea was actually pretty good.
Nice, yeah. How many did we down nearby us?
Oh, what I rolled for it. I think it was only 1. Well, I kind of simulated it, so I'll say 2. 2 tumblers downed.
Cool. That's enough for now.
It will definitely go a long way to feeding people. Some people are shouting out in dismay. There's very much a sort of post-crisis feeling, the dust choking the air and obscuring vision, and you hear screams of the injured and people bereaved. We need to roll for who dies. So could I have...
bloody hell.
Could I have... we need 7... So, do 1 each to start with, please. I need D100s. And maybe some re-rolling involved.
I feel like this was the good idea, but it's going to have very bad implications.
Yeah. Okay, well, that second 44 needs to be re-rolled. Yeah, do it with your real life dice.
Can't those people just be absolutely fucked?
No, they got stampeded. So one of the farmers is killed. Bravely trying to get the tumblers to stop. What'd you get, Anya? 82. That's quite high. Oh, my favorite marine. I liked the name. Knives, Cerilyn, Southbank. A young human female is knocked out trying to defend one of the kids in the herd and killed. I need more D100s. If you don't want to be responsible, I can do it, but...
How many?
92 from Anya. 92 is Pushkin. You need to re-roll that.
Pushkin falls over on the way and dies.
One of the sailors, the deckhand. Armless Jolia Unker. Another female. So women. No, that's 59. 59. And then a 48 from... Oh, wait, let's make sure I'm not doing too many. I've done 1, 2. So we had 44, 22. Oh, Hannah.
What?
Oh wait, our yarn is your favorite, but R2 is killed by the tumbler.
No!
One of the bugbears.
Oh no, Aryan's gonna be sad.
Real sad.
That's
That
gonna
was
be bad.
that was his partner.
Shit.
59. I just did. Oh god, I'm getting all confused now. 1, 2, 48. Oh, the human engineer. That's both engineers gone now.
Wow.
You guys aren't getting running water ever.
We got running tumblers.
1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 59. Anya rolled 2. So that's 6. I think I need one more. Oh, 19. Love, sorry. 19. Ow, 19's one of the Harangons. Tari, swift paired.
It's okay, everyone. I'm sure Briarbeard won't notice.
Yeah.
I've got to protect the animals from the influence of the invaders.
To be honest, none of the animals died yet.
2 of them got shot. You rolled a 19, so I think that's it. It's fine. Yeah, some casualties, people cooling out in the wreckage, but you certainly, with a cooler head, do recognize that there is now food. 2 plump tumblers ready for munching down on. Pushkin, you gather up your group as you travel across, and by the end of the day, you manage to make it back to camp as it is now night.
Yeah.
And you see the results of your, both good and bad, the results of your scheme. I'll change the music, feels slightly inappropriate now. Up. Put our jungle ambience back on. So as everyone rejoins back at the Quiver Sail, most people, so thank you, Anya. Still no sign of Krez and her group. Is there anything anyone would do before we move into the last stage of this session?
Hmm. Sally would probably sit around with her little group and whoever wanted to join from any of the other groups,
Mm-hmm.
and just sort of say something about R2. No.
Yeah, Aryan would be very grateful for it, but definitely in pieces.
Yeah.
Pushkin was 100% trying to be like, we only did what we thought we must.
Well, the worst, arguably, well, not the worst is that they died, but when you guys first get back, Lord Quivershank 100% comes into camp just like, the heroes return! As a river unto our people, we bring food and tidings of strange beasts and fruit in the jungle.
Yeah.
As everyone kind of stares him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, angry accusations from some people. Did you drive the tumblers here? You killed my... blah, blah, blah.
Pushkin would be like, yes, we did, but it was for the betterment of everyone.
Oh, make a persuasion check.
He's not trying to persuade him. He's trying to intimidate him.
Oh, intimidation check. I love it.
Because he's like, you would have starved if we hadn't bothered to do this.
Be the first number. 15. People do largely back down. Feelings are hurt, and still raw, but there is some sense to your words, and no one can deny the primal drive of the hunger in their bellies. Is the smell of roasting tumbler comes over as people set up fires and go to work. And Pushkin, you can certainly add to that with your abilities. I did forget what I rolled for before. Pushkin, on your way through as you collect people, you come up on the Marine who looks shell-shocked. And it's a bit of a tonal shock because it's felt like such a success, your mission. The Marine did a very good job as a part of that. But the dwarven woman who's shown herself to be incredibly tough so far has tears in her eyes as she gestures for you to follow her and leads you around the crest of the hill where the tumblers have been. And you can see the evidence of their passing. The ground is churned up.
Mm-hmm.
But you also see a number, probably 4 or 5 small bodies of children that have been killed by the passing tumblers. These aren't travelers that came with you. These are children of different races, but typically quite dark skin, well sunned, vibrant beginnings of tattoos, even on the youngest children, marking them clearly as Sari. That it seems like from the collection of items that are around as well, were perhaps here training or scouting on some little adventure, and was interrupted by a herd of stampeding tumblers that passed through.
This is why Rexar's a really evil character sometimes, because like, what are you saying? We should eat them? No.
The Kieran brain. The dwarf is in a really nasty state. She's just like, they're kids. How we did this? They're dead because of us. The Lord doesn't really know what to say and just seems very embarrassed. The goblins have their own grief to deal with, and just the gloom kind of settles over the group.
Well, don't know what to do about that.
No. Completely, it's not something to be done. Does show you that there are Sari elements on the island. There are natives here.
Did I back out? I did.
Transition us. I'm going to transition us into, rather than day by day, I've got some questions for people to see what happens with New Quivershank going forward. With Pushkin's intervention, as tragic as many of the effects were, you have now got a food supply which will last you a long time with the tumblers, even if you go about depleting their numbers. The only other thing I have to immediately tell you, as it would happen in the next few days, is Krez's group does return. However, and this was all rolled for, this wasn't story stuff I had planned already, things didn't go very well for Krez's group. They left as a group of 10, including Krez and Icky, Telto. Krez and Icky both survived, but 6 of the 10 were killed. They went quite far south in efforts to find useful food sources or other landmarks. What they actually found, which makes Pushkin's victory slightly bittersweet, is a tumbler herd further to the south that was already down there. But again, that can just be more food going forward. They also found, where is it in my notes? On day 7, they didn't find anything. They kept pushing on, not wanting to return empty-handed. Krez keeping the group alive with great survival skills. Day 8, still nothing found. This is all obviously being reported back to you properly by Krez on her return, Salia.
Yeah.
Same sense, but attacked by large sand scorpions and lose 6 people to the assault. Decide to turn back in the morning. Can see that keeping on going to the south would eventually just lead to the sea. On the way back, they were attacked by a different foe. They were attacked by people who looked like Sari, bursting from the tree line. They didn't lose anyone further. They did much better in that fight. And on day 10, they managed to return to the encampment. 4 of them, including Krez and Icky.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, we have 20 minutes left. and I have questions for people. I'm going to begin with specific questions for characters. Poor Natalie, I'm afraid your questions have kind of been answered by what happened with Briarbeard.
That's fine.
My only question for you is, as things play out, as you, as a player, I think correctly guessed, there will definitely be potential conflict with your fellow PCs.
Mhm.
Will Eleanor be so? Her experience is very much one of numbness as she carries out different tasks. Many of her tasks involve going out into the jungle and bringing back certain ingredients, hunting things. A lot of it's quite simple. Sometimes she comes up against other humanoids. Sometimes she's sent against Sari elements to kill, or sometimes just intimidate. But it is very likely, though it does depend on other people's answers to things, that she will come into conflict with the other PCs. Do you think there would be a part of Eleanor that tries to like resist or fight back, or does she just get lost in sort of the numbness and that element?
I think she's lost in the numbness. I think
Yeah.
my idea for the entire campaign was to play out the different stages of grief, like we talked,
Mm-hmm.
and we certainly made it through from anger to bargaining. And I see this as her never reaching acceptance because something else has trapped her in the depression stage.
Good. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. My next questions are going to go to Salis, the Burgomaster. With New Quivershank starting to stabilize, how do you see Salis's role in New Quivershank? Will he attempt to ingratiate himself with the populace, or continue in his self-absorbed ways? Do you see him taking a role of leadership? And how do you think he might react to being approached by other factions on the island, which you're slowly starting to realize do exist here?
Okay. Do you think that there is someone in amongst the crew that doesn't hate the Burgomaster?
There will certainly be elements that see him as a fond memory and remnant of civilization that's left behind. So there will be
Okay.
some elements who see him as a potential beacon for art and sophistication and so on.
I like to think at first he'd carry on the way that he was, because he thinks he is ingratiating himself with people because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So, but I like to think that, you know, someone will end up as like his, whatever the New Quivershank version of a valet is.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, Daniel, whatever his fucking name is, why do people not seem to like me, etc. And Daniel will be like tactful enough to talk him through where he's going wrong with the people, etc. And if approached by other factions on the island, he'd like, I don't know where I've got Daniel from. Daniel's just his fucking name now because you haven't supplied me with anything else.
I can sort a name, don't worry. Daniel is a placeholder.
I'm just calling him Daniel for now.
Oh,
then
it
he
should be
would
Melsworth. Melsworth seems like a good name.
Melsworth.
Melsworth Sandborn. There you go.
But he'd be like, what do you think? And you know, try and get Melsworth's advice on whether people would want to mix with other factions on the island, etc. And sort of see what happens. He'd soften over time and become more amenable to, you know, not hearing that he's perfect all the time, I think.
I like that. Yeah, I put mellows. He mellows in his ways.
Yeah, we were talking the other day that I just assumed he was going to be the first mayor of New Quivershank. You said not, because you thought the Lord Quivershank might want me.
Yeah.
I just assumed that Lord Ernst was going to be like a kind of king of New Quivershank, and then Burgomaster was going to be like the prime minister or whatever.
that very well could come to pass. I've forgotten about Pushkin's conversation with the Lord. What did he say, like emperor or what have you?
Oh, he was just bigging him up, but he did say emperor as a joke.
Um,
If you
Yeah,
know
but
what I
we
mean.
both know that he's not clever enough to know that that was a joke, Pushkin.
100%.
Yeah, true.
So my next question is for Pushkin and Salia together. As you've both sort of emerged as the real figureheads of leadership within the crew as things have fallen apart with the previous established leadership, and the Burgomaster hasn't immediately done a great job of ingratiating himself with the people. So to the both of you, do you think you're going to work together, or do you think you'll be at odds? With that overarching question in mind, do you think you might clash on some of these issues, such as what are your intentions for New Quivershank? Do you want it to be kind of this trading post? Do you think you need to set up, like Sally mentioned, boats before? Do you want to explore further into the island? What are your attitudes towards the Sari? Because there's definitely Sari elements here. And also, this is something I should have said right at the start. There is a threat on the island which would become apparent to you. We didn't discover it in your explorations, but further to the south, and in fact, I might as well reveal this all to you now, because that's fun. Reveal. So, as you can see, there is a true Sari settlement to the northwest, and further to the south, though it's somewhat obscured by the mist. I got a bit trigger happy with the fog. There is this brown element to the ground here. This is the word I wouldn't even use unnatural. I'd call it hypernatural. It's like an overgrowing swamp that seems to take over the natural landscape as it spreads out. And it wouldn't take too long, like maybe half a year, for it to start getting closer to New Quivershank and for you guys to certainly be made aware of it. So that's another thing that I want Salia and Pushkin to be aware of when I say, like, do you think you'd work together? How would you respond to this threat? Would you respond to the Sari? What are your intentions? So any thoughts on that?
Pushkin would immediately just want to, make the food supply stable.
Yep.
That's all he really. That's mostly what he's concentrating on in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sali is all about people pulling their weight and working as a team. So she wouldn't necessarily go against Pushkin. She would just go against him being the boss. So she would only be against him sort of playing as a higher above everyone else sort of thing.
But if he was just taking the role of food and management and stuff like that, she wouldn't brush up against him. Okay.
Not as much, no.
He
But if
wouldn't.
he's being arrogant like the Burgomaster, then yeah, she's going to brush against him real hard.
He's mostly just trying to make sure the Lord is okay.
See, your Burgomaster's my character's problem.
What can I say? I'm a renegade.
So a big question for Salia then. I think she would get prime question on this because of her own culture and background. How would she deal with this? It would become quite quickly apparent to her. She'd be told by the herbalist about the Sari children. Yeah. She'd figure out quite quickly that there are two different Sari elements here. There's the true Sari village far to the west. And then there's this almost like overtly primitive, purely operating within the jungle element, which she'd come to realize are exiled Sari.
Interesting.
How would Salia be handling that?
You say one of them's more primitive than the other, so she'd probably try and communicate with the less primitive one for the
Yeah.
minute. Just to see what their deal is, I guess. Not try and are they like they're not like an immediate threat or anything, so
I've got its name. Hold on, it's just loading in. Oh yeah, Gomsar. Gommsarr. All Sari settlements end with Sarr. Is the settlement? It's quite a large settlement and populous. The people here live happily. They're settled here because it's closest to the two other nearby islands, and you would see if you communicated or interacted with them that they frequently travel between the islands in this kind of like inner triangle of trade and prosperity with the other Sari settlements.
definitely be interested in that. How open are they to opening that up to us?
Not very. They are quite displeased with the fact that you guys are on the island. They are very leery towards you, particularly because they're like, "Why are you with non-Sari folk? Like, why have you allied yourselves with them?" But they are very aware of the swamp threat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they are aware or semi-aware of a mysterious figure that seems to be causing upsets on the island and putting things out of balance. So they would be open to the idea of people being allowed to stay on the island, partially because you're so distant to their settlement, and partially because they think might be useful to have allies.
Yeah. So do we. In that case, then, so it might be like a you scratch my back sort of thing, and we could probably try and help each other out. Would they know anything about the swamp overgrown, or just that it's an entity?
They'd know a few things. They'd know that it hasn't been there for a very long time. It's only appeared in the last 5-10 years. That the ground itself has shifted. You can see on the map, and they would describe it to you. There's this huge pit, like a crater that just keeps going down into the ground that the swamp element seems to emanate from. The mysterious figure has only been spied occasionally and has taken on a bit of a sort of boogeyman status amongst the Sari here. It's also been spotted on the other of the 3 islands as well. Described as very tall, a looming shadow, very much able to blend through nature. Some people have described him as having trappings of nature about them.
Wonder who that is.
I wonder.
Salia would encourage everyone that we shouldn't probably move around then, especially if not nearer to their settlement.
Okay, so keeping New Quivershank quite contained.
Yeah, but also probably sort of say to them like, the stronger we are, the more we can help out. So, the faster we can settle down and make things and make weapons, the quicker we can help get rid of whatever this is on the island.
Yes, it was, Ellie.
Yep.
Oh, that's my favourite part of it all.
Should also probably just ask how long they've been there and like why are they there? Why do they not sail around everywhere else?
Well, what I will say is that Salia doesn't need to ask too much of that because you are able to understand some of the tattooing in the culture. Not all of it, because it is there are unique elements to each settlement and areas of culture, but you are able to interpret some of the tattooing. And you sense a story of the Sari people having been here for a long time, but hundreds of years, but being while still bearing much similarities to Sari that you have been a part of and experienced away from the Serrated Isles, there is an isolationist element to them. they've kind of cut themselves off, and there's a kind of an arrogance. They see themselves as a pure culture here. They don't like the idea of interacting with the trappings of the so-called modern civilizations of Hespia, Glamorand, Sedistre, at all. So
Fair enough.
yeah, you pick up there's a real pride in their sort of like sustainable, balanced existence here.
That's fair enough. We just come and railroaded it. What do they think of the more primitive guys?
Oh, there is an intense hatred there.
Okay.
The exiled Sari elements were Sari who lived amongst them before. They would share this with you, and again, you'd get scraps from the tattoos as well. Who tried to take the living in balance and in connection with nature thing too far, according to these Sari. In that they tried to be more animalistic and or like the sapient species interpretation of animalistic anyway, whereby they were trying to be more like taking away any idea of civilization or social contracts, kind of like everyone can do what they want and attack each other or take what they want from each other, and it kind of became a cult within the Sari. And the Sari describe it as almost like a tumor that had to be cut out.
Okay.
So they were exiled.
Fair enough. From their own like little tribe, I assume.
Yes.
Ages ago.
Yeah. From not that long, maybe 20, 25 years.
Oh, not long at all.
Fairly
Okay.
recent, and the exiled Sari have seemingly taken up refuge around the old ruined tower here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's just putting her hands back, like not getting involved with thatness, but definitely want to deal with this and have help from these guys, especially if they're trading. Like, what stuff are they trading?
They have a wonderful relationship with the area around them. So much of what they trade is understanding of the surroundings, but also high quality natural materials, strong construction materials, tools, woven elements, clothes, elements from animal carcasses, so fine hides and skins, things to keep you warm or things to help keep you cool in the shade. Like their nature craft is exceptional.
Nice. What was the other questions as well?
So I keep glancing at the time. We might run over a little bit. I hope that's all right. But
I've not got work tomorrow, so don't worry.
oh, wonderful. My next big question, this is for Salis, Pushkin, and Salia, is how do you treat Lord Ernst Quivershank?
Who? Pushkin?
All three of you, we'll go through one at a time in a second, but his attitude going forward is very boisterous, very much hopefully along the lines of how I've played him, quite stupid, quite thick-skulled. Just he takes on, especially with the tumblers coming back and having food and kind of stabilizing. He's not useful. He just isn't useful. He wants to go off hunting still. He wants glory. He wants things that end up in history books. And he has very much an assumption that he is still the leader. He's in charge of everything. That doesn't come up that often unless people directly challenge him. But I just want to know how people would treat the Lord, starting with Pushkin.
Pushkin would treat him kind of like a sheltered child, where he basically so the Lord and go there, everyone else proper work. But he would take him hunting when he went, because, you know, he did manage to hit something. Like
Yeah, true.
like
yeah.
And like Pushkin likes him, but if he dies, it's like it'd be sad, but he wouldn't be like devastated. At least he would have died trying to do something if it's hunting.
Yeah, very true. Let's jump to Salis. Unmuting.
I don't really know. I think he just probably to his face be like, "Oh yes, brilliant plan, my lord," and afterwards be like, "Do we really need to keep this guy around?"
Would he try to usurp him at all?
Usurp? He'd probably just be like underhand about it and be like, try and point out. Well, no, I don't think he would because he's becoming a better person. Well, I say better in very big inverted commas. I think he'd just sort of bide his time and try and prove from his sort of interactions with people, be like, give them anecdotes that prove how unsuitable he is.
Okay, so he does eventually turn to like trying to displace the Lord a little bit.
Sort of, but that makes me sound terrible because that's what I do with people I don't like at work.
It's entirely up to you, my love.
Yeah, I think he'd just be like, it would be so much better if I was the Lord. And then after Daniel looks at him like, what the fuck? He'd be like, I mean, I'm joking, of course.
Very good. And Salia?
I think Salia would just be quite dismissive of him. Every time he tries to like give an order or do something stupid, she just ignores the crap out of him. She would also probably try and do what she's been doing, essentially, just sort of downplaying authority in general among everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Cool.
not anything direct.
Yeah.
Particularly, just
I'm
go
getting
away.
I'm getting an image in my mind of how this will gel together. A couple of more direct questions, and this is open to anyone. Where would you actually set up building New Quivershank itself? You've got the Tumbler Herd, which is settled down here. The other Tumbler Herd, I can un-GM layer it now, is down here marked as E's. And you figure out where the exiled Sari are as well, so I'll put them on the map as well.
Where are our sources of fresh water?
Fresh water isn't too hard to come by here. It seems like the true Sari have done quite a good job of making sure there are like checkpoints almost, because they, as you saw with the kids, they send out groups around to learn from the land, like around the whole island. So there are Sari checkpoints where they've made sure there's clean water, blocked off with little rocks or what have you, food nearby, often little caches that they hide for people to use. And so as such, the land has been worked a little bit to make sure there's water in quite a few places.
And you said
However-
the farmers didn't think the the soil was fertile.
The farmers think the fertile soil is in the jungle itself, so you need to clear. If you cleared an area at the tree line, they could probably work with that.
So like there.
Yeah.
More like there.
We'd have to ask the Sari what they think about getting closer to them, I think. Maybe even moving all the way around here. Although that's closer to the primitive one. Maybe there.
And the boat's like I guess there wasn't much on the boat, right? Except
Yeah.
for building materials.
Wood, yeah.
Boat's been deconstructed. Yeah. What do we think? Nearby?
Pushkin would want to stay
Farm.
nearby. Like there. The tumblers are there. The other tumblers are down there.
You do also have
So-
the... I've marked it with a white rectangle. There are elements of those old ruins poking through in the ground, the foundations that you could build on top of.
Sari would very much be going by what the other Sari think about moving closer.
They would. I think they would largely interpret just this side of the trees as being fine.
Okay.
Like, just don't
But we
start.
can't clear the trees.
Clearing the trees would be a lot more problematic. Yeah. If they were made to understand that it's for agriculture and that it will only be a certain area, it's not that you're like logging indefinitely. They might be able to be brought round to it with some concessions of their own. But yeah, as long as you're this side of the main jungle, they're fine with it. So where we
Yeah,
going?
I mean, I guess it depends on how much you want to farm. I guess like, if we're not going to take that much,
I mean,
we could go...
Pushkin would do everything he could to try and convince them that they really need a little bit of farmland, because otherwise they're probably just going to die. And he would allow concessions, probably really stupid concessions if they were raised to him in the right way.
The concessions would be along the lines of being monitored quite frequently by the Sari and being used essentially as a like teaching example for the Sari children to basically come and laugh at and be like, look at these idiots. This is why our culture's important.
Pushkin would find that fine. He thinks they're going to watch us anyway, so...
Cool. Then yeah. So here?
Yeah, there with a little bit of land. I suppose we could go upwards, right, as well?
Well, you could clear these two X's next to it and have some significant farmland.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go. I will add that to the map for the future. You just put a new settlement in the canon of the world. Cool. So that answers that. My next direct question is going to require us to zoom over to...
It's going to be called Pushlandia, Tom.
Pushlandia. So... we were going to
If you don't call it the Push
Definitely
Kingdom,
not.
I'm going to be really disappointed.
Okay.
What did you say? Push Kingdom. Incredible. Get rid of the trees. So, having cleared trees away. What? In fact, let's just do this on the other map. That's fine. Hup. The Burgomaster's grand plan. So.
Could need another poop dip.
Would you be happy with the general layout as it is? Is there anything you'd change? Is there anything you'd add? This is your chance, because once we've done with this, I will go away and make a map of how New Quivershank is. And Group 2, I think it's Group 2, will be playing with New Quivershank as part of their thing, although a few decades down the line. But is there anything anyone would add, or what have you?
Brothel's going.
Brothel's going!
Yep.
Salis.
Can it be an inn instead?
That's me. What's the problem?
Oh wait, there's already one here.
Yeah, you got the tavern there. Would the Burgomaster fight back against the brothel being removed?
Probably not.
Okay, brothel's gone.
What are these green bits? What's that?
Roads. It didn't come out very well. If you zoom in, you can see it's like a little dirt path.
Okay.
Like paths rather than roads.
What about blacksmiths? Or is that
Blacksmith?
too hard?
Yeah.
I think you still had your orcish blacksmithing family mostly intact.
We do, yeah. I think.
Yeah. The mum.
Cool.
Core's dead.
Oh.
Core's dead,
Kelter's
sadly. Kelter's alive, and Kerwin, who's also a blacksmith, the mother, is alive. So you definitely be able to set up a blacksmith. We can do that. So
Need
let's-
it carpenters area. So they can build me some boats. I want some boats.
Boat building. Where's my little
Oh, a zoo.
Quivershank? There it is. Oh yeah, zoo. So let's do
A
this.
zoo / museum of their finds
Hell.
and the history of New Quivershank. That's what the Lord can do. He can just stay in the museum and tell people about it.
I love that.
No
Okay.
one visits ever.
Blacksmith. And let's have
Little herbalist shop.
zoo / museum. If you don't agree with where I'm putting stuff, please just move stuff around. It should all be controllable by you guys.
We want the main storage to be a bit bigger. Like, all of it.
Bigger storage.
Mhm.
And this is museum / lord / zoo / zoo.
You should have a monument made out of part of the boat as well.
The Lord, and this would be one of the few things he actually gives a shit about, or like vocally gives a shit about, would want a statue of Elsie put up somewhere.
Yeah, it can go in outside the museum.
Statue Elsie.
Inside the museum. No one has to look at it.
Can't venerate the upper classes.
Right.
I've been watching a fucking Pathfinder campaign, and one of the characters the guy's playing, I'm desperate to play that character now. He's like a revolutionary that just takes everything as like, they're trying to suppress the proletariat. Rise up, my brothers! It's so fucking funny. Statue
Bakery,
bakery.
which means there must be a mill somewhere on the outside.
Yep, it's fine. Let's put mill inside. Put it further afield. Just as a reminder. Mill.
So we want the boat making. We want a leather worker area as well.
Oh, yep, good shout.
You need the place the Marines can stay in tip-top shape.
Barracks.
Yeah. We need somewhere where the inventor can do his stuff.
I
Oh,
like how most of these places are just gonna be fucking wooden shacks.
oh
yeah.
yeah, 100%. It's gonna
Need a
be
little
fucking
shack for the herbalist so she can grow some more herbs.
shanty town. Little shack for the herbalist. Let's put her over here.
What else have we got?
Herbalist. What do people say? Inventor. That would make sense to be near the blacksmith.
Engineer, he can join him in there.
They're all dead.
Engineers both dead.
Oh, are they? Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Killed by the stampede, the last one. And the other one died to seeds pox.
all the artists can have their own little table. They can all do it off the same table.
Oh yeah. Very good. Is there anywhere? Oh yeah. So I'll get rid of the Lord one because he's living in a museum now. Burgomaster's there, so the artist would be right nearby.
Librarian and merchants and the tailor. I mean, they don't
Yeah.
need that.
You need like a town square, like where everyone can meet up and trade and stuff. I guess
Excellent.
that's kind of becoming this area here.
Yeah,
Very cool. I will just mark it as a square.
definitely need the tailor to have his own little place. There's a lot of clothes that need making.
That's true.
We just become naturalists.
Square. Can if you want. This is your whole place. Town square. Right. Oh, bakery.
We venerate at the temple.
You tell me. Would you try to keep the transcended mortals from Hespia? Because that's what a lot of the Hespian people would worship. Or do you try to get rid of that as a remnant of where you came from? Do you worship the Kiad Shore? Those are the two main elements that you guys would be aware of.
Oh, it's just sometimes why it would be so funny to be like, we should worship the Lord.
Yeah, I said, how do you want to treat him? You can if you want.
No,
All these things are doable.
but my character isn't that stupid.
Oh.
I think we need to have the shepherds need their own little area to shepherd something.
Oh
If they
yeah,
ever find out what's underground, they can do
Oh.
that.
I'll do that outside, like the mill, as a reminder to have it outside. Shepherd.
Scribe can probably go in with the artists.
Yeah.
Oh, Chuck's place.
Chuck!
Or would he have a cave somewhere?
He lives in the poop ditch.
Yeah, what happened, what happened to all his mushrooms? And wasn't it implied there was going to be some kind of plague or something?
No, his mushrooms grew really big. And we talked before about how if he had caught seeds pox, it would have affected him really badly compared to other people. But he didn't. He got lucky. Chuck's place. Yeah, Chuck just needs like a cave, basically. Ooh. Chuck.
I guess pushing is going to work if it's happened.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And look after that.
In brackets.
And he barely has to go anywhere. He just has to stay on this one road. His whole life.
Yeah, let's move his little home up there then.
Yeah,
Which
one
is-
road.
One road soup ladle, that's what they call me. Fantastic. That's really come together. So I will make this as well for the campaign.
How far in the future is it
Oh.
going to be?
Boat building. Again, I'll do it outside as a reminder. Well, no, you'd have it inside. Oh yeah, you need a fucking like lumber mill.
Need a big chopping place.
Big chop boats.
Is it just going to mean we're going to come back and be like, we need to get out?
No, it's gonna be there's gonna be some threads there, one of which is gonna be the swamp stuff. It's gonna be probably like 20 to 30 years down the line. So your characters can very much be alive, just old. But I will
I'll
some
say
historical
Salia
stuff.
doesn't plan to be here in 30 years. No.
Ooh, where's she going?
Just gonna try and get her own little group from this town and take them and go be sorry somewhere else.
Somewhere else, like a different island?
Yeah, potentially go to the other islands. Probably sail around separately once she's found out what's on there.
Are there any people that have come to mind that she'd want to take with her? That I can scribble
Everyone
down.
that is most of the people in her group really. It's sad that R2 dead, but
Yeah.
anyone that wanted to come from the other nobody in particular, just anyone that wants to come really.
Okay.
And that is mostly skilled and not just going to be useless.
Tries to take group. Sort who goes with. Cool.
And throughout the time of trying to sort out this place as well, she would have definitely been, if the Sari were, because we had a little deal with the trading thing.
Yeah.
So she'd definitely take little groups with her already and probably swap them out occasionally to whoever wanted to come.
To start like ingratiating them with Sari culture.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Probably try to do Icky as well, because he seems like he might get bored here.
He 100% would. Rotate
Yeah.
groups taken to Gomsar.
Ashkin would just go to the point where he has nothing left to do and just get out.
Yeah. make him a gouty old cat in
Yeah,
that
exactly.
runs the tavern in the new campaign. Amazing. Fantastic. Okay, we're nearly there. There's two things, both of which were always going to come up, but didn't due to random encounter stuff rolling happen during our sessions. But I love them both, so I'm not leaving without them. First is Pushkin.
hmm
Pushkin, probably about a year or two into your settling here, you are probably one night when you're closing down the tavern at the end and things are starting to look good, New Quivershank's starting to come together and actually look like a settlement. Everyone's left, the last few drunks are toddling off to their tents or shacks home. You are visited by a fey being, by a fairy, who calls themselves and wants to be addressed as the Taste.
Okay.
The fairy has a very clear dream to sample and create the greatest food ever known on the lands of Archivia, and has sought out Pushkin as a visionary, a culinary visionary, in a unique situation, being here on the Serrated Isles, where so many ingredients are yet unused or wasted, as the fairy thinks, by the brutish Sari.
Yeah.
The fairy, the Taste, wishes to strike something of a deal. Pushkin would be the Taste's vessel, if you like, in the material plane, and supply the Taste with a monthly meeting, supply them with mundane ingredients from the Serrated Isle that you are currently on, whilst the Taste would actually provide Pushkin with ingredients taken directly from the Feywild itself.
Oh, hell yeah, he's taking that. No question.
And the Taste would work with Pushkin to make fanciful dishes using these exotic new ingredients to make food to be served at the Fey courts.
Well, Pushkin would be very pleased to uphold that end of the bargain.
Fantastic. Please.
He would definitely make sure he supplemented the Fey ingredients into, this culture. And he's like, where's that from, Pushkin? He's like, oh, I found it somewhere.
Excellent. Into New Quivershank culture. Excellent.
Well, that's sort of a top, like, serving a Fey court was like, big thing.
Hell fucking yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. And then the last one, just because I love this character's going to be recurring in multiple campaigns, I think. Harry, Salia, does visit you again. Pleased about managing to get Elsie out of the sword and down to the Hells. She has been of great use, he tells you. But her master, or your shared master, is getting impatient with the other noble elements here. And she would encourage you to arrange some convenient accidents for the remnants of the nobility. Would Salia go along with that? And is there anything she would want as payment, or anything that Harry could help provide to help grease the wheels, so to speak?
Perhaps some easier passage along the waves to the further islands.
That can be done.
What nobility is she asking for? Just Lord Ernst?
No.
Can't remember who the other ones are.
Permian.
Permian's gonna be easy. He's gonna fucking. He's at the end of his fuse anyway. The noble element still present is Lord Ernst, the specular sophist Mills, the gnome, who helped navigate you to the Serrated Isles. Xiphon would have been, but he's dead now. Anyway, so that was a missed thing in Harry's mind. Certainly Permian. The Burgomaster.
Yep.
And there's a couple of the Marines who are from noble stock. Darcelion Courtray of Windtwist, an ephemeral elf, quite young. And Mortren Courtray, the older brother of Darcelion.
Yep.
So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in total, and she provides you with the extra necklaces.
Yep, she did.
Okay.
Easy time. Take them on a little joyride on a boat. Push them over.
Very good. So she wants easier travel or like mastery of the waves. And happy to oblige. Ooh. Noble targets. Where would Salis come in the order of things, or would she try and do them all in quite a quick time frame?
Not super quick. Should probably spread them out to, get rid of that suspicion. And obviously not all the same. Should push
Yeah.
one of them over on a boat. That'd be nice. But
You're getting murdered, Salis.
how do I kill Salis? How do I kill Salis?
Is it time for expeditious retreat?
I kind of want him to get eaten by the snake, Digested in a
roots.
snake.
Very good.
Yeah. Multiple ways.
Cool. We can roll for that, Hanya. We'll sort that out and see how Salis does. Somehow, I think he's going to end up surviving. He's got like. He said he's
if
going
he
to put
survives the
Salia in
snake-
the poop ditch.
She's a monk. She can get out.
Very true. Excellent. Is there any last questions I wanted to ask? Vision. I think you've answered all of these. Oh, does anybody have any interest or intent with the ruins? Either the ruined tower or the foundational ruins that's kind of around where you guys are situated?
Foundational ones, not so much. But Salia would probably like to explore some of the other ones.
Excellent.
The ones where the Sari live aroundish.
Yeah.
Pushkin would like
Fantastic.
to know who these people are who died here before us.
Very good.
Learn from the mistakes.
Pushkin wants to understand previous civilization. Amazing.
And explore this overgrown swamp a bit as well.
Okay. So, explore. Yeah, that
Would
would
it
be.
be cool?
Yeah, not too much because it's dangerous, but yeah, just a bit like, to get the land of it.
Just
Yep.
in my mind, the Lord might call it New Quivershank.
Yep.
But would it have a colloquial name?
Or quite possibly. Do you have ideas? The shit heap. The poop ditch. Yeah, certainly the Lord would be very keen for it to be recognised as New Quivershank, but if people didn't do so, it wouldn't be.
Definitely encourage people not to call it that.
Where did we? What was the starting settlement?
You came from not Sea Spray. Discovery. Came from Discovery.
People call it like New Discovery because it's like, well, that name.
Makes a lot of
Um,
sense. Would anybody
yeah.
else
I
work
don't know.
against that or have their own thing?
I mean, Pushkin wouldn't push for it. I was just thinking what the
Oh, yeah.
people might be just calling it.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I don't know. Salia wouldn't, I think, encourage any particular name from herself, but whatever people are starting to call it, she'll just accept it.
I mean, New Discovery sounds the kind of shit people actually call it. Because, like, oh, it's called Discovery, but we discovered a new one, and we came from there. It just seems like...
Very true.
Yeah. Salia would probably just encourage people to make it their own in whatever way.
What's
Well,
the ship called? Quivershank.
Tumblr's Journey.
And you're right on the edge of the jungle. I'll have a think. And come up with some ideas and then float them past you guys, and you can tell me whether your characters would try and stick with one or the other. The ideas.
Okay.
float to people. In the history books, originally called New Quivershank by the idiot that founded the expedition. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. You have literally made a settlement that's going to be in my world. It's fucking awesome.
Nice.
Woo.
And people will be playing in it frequently.
Mm.
In fact, I think it's you guys, your group. Let me check the
Yeah, I think it is actually.
things. Oh, I make so many fucking images. Here it is. TTRPG going forward.
Well, I was going to ask if I could play in both. so-
Yeah? You want to be fifth player in Group 1 as well?
yeah, I think especially because Georgie's not there for a while at least as well.
Yeah. That suits me fine. Sorry. You gotta use the exercise ball. Gotta work that core. That's absolutely fine with me, Natalie. I think people have
I'd like
kind
to
of an expectation
contextualise.
with Kieran doing it as well, that you two are the frequent players. Do you feel alright about it, Hannah, or is that bad?
I mean, I would like to join as well, but I could dip out if Georgie wants to join. It's fine.
My limit is 5, so as long
Yeah.
as the party never goes above 5, I'm happy. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I
completely
could just
cool
dip
with me.
out if Georgie wants to dip out, join in. Because
Sounds
I
cool.
don't think I could do it forever anyway. Because when I go back to school, it might be a bit much. But
Yeah.
until
Yeah,
then,
sounds.
How many? I can't remember who's in what group.
So Group 1, who will be doing the Lumen Village quest, is Stefan, Kieran, Georgie, Anya, but I'm more than happy, as long as it doesn't go above 5, Natalie and Hannah to be there as well. And then Group 2, who will be doing the Serrated Empire quest, which is going to be like an island hopping thing with some different story threads, is Kieran, Hannah, Natalie, and George.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet! Well, thank you all. That was an awesome end to a very fun little mini campaign.
It was.
it was good. I enjoyed it.
So much information for me to embed in the
It
world now.
didn't go as bad as I thought it would go.
Oh,
Um,
the very last. No, not going bad. The Gilly Beer Boys.
oh, yeah, good point.
They do approach the settlement quite early on, in like the first week or two after the day we got to. They start off by just kind of hanging around awkwardly nearby, and trying to like get little scraps of things from the outskirts of the tents, the
Yeah,
tent village that's there.
Like that guy who came down the beach after we won the.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Never forget. Exactly. Would anyone interact with Pushkin in particular?
Pushkin definitely, but he'd be giving them beer every day, giving them like waste bits that people don't want.
And
Well-
then, and then he enslaves them.
By doing that, they would stick around and definitely form a dependent kind of relationship with Pushkin. Not too far from Dredge, to be honest.
You should
Probably
make,
Dredge just joins them.
you should make it so they become all like the bartenders at the inns and stuff.
God.
I'm writing it down.
Their entire culture becomes about consuming alcohol.
Entire culture.
Are they going to be sentient? Or are they
Yeah,
just sapient?
yes. No, they were like on the edge of. So you've uplifted them just to make them an alcoholic race.
They're basically like wild humans, but
Yeah,
without when no one interacts with them, they appear animal-like. But
Yeah.
when, yeah,
yeah, like
Yeah.
feral. Yeah, they're able to learn. They're able to learn language, and their culture will be boozy based. Incredible. Oh, I love it all so much. Fantastic. So next Monday, if people can play, we will take our first steps into Pathfinder.
Oh my
Oh
god.
shit.
Yeah. We're gonna have. Oh, of course. Folk club. Could people do a different day in the week, or is that too much D&D at the moment?
Let me look at my
I
schedule.
think I'm on late next week, so I have to be at a late start either way.
That is fine, because we'd be starting off with a session 0, so we probably
Yeah,
wouldn't be
makes
playing
sense.
anything. We'd just be making the characters and running
Right,
you guys
right.
through the Pathfinder stuff. But if not, we can just push it to the following Monday.
I could maybe do Tuesday evening or because Thursday's Kieran's. Tuesday or Monday is the only days I can really do. Yeah.
We do Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm fine. You alright doing Tuesday? Yeah. I might skip seeing my family for a week. I've been thinking about doing it anyway.
That's Pathfinder.
Sweet. We'll provisionally pencil in Tuesday then. You can have a concept or have done a path builder thing already if you want, but it's completely fine if you just want to turn up on the day and build something there, because
And it's set here.
it's set in Seaspray, which is a coastal town.
Yeah.
Near-
I was
Near
gonna
Lumen
ask, like, what is
It's-
the premise?
It's very simple. You are local, or you could have been someone passing through, but essentially it's a very sort of just adventurers, come and help do this for some money.
Would these characters fit into any of your other campaign ideas at all?
They certainly could do. Seaspray's one town over from Lumen Village, so
Okay.
that could make sense just fine. It's essentially my stores of fish have been going missing from the fishery. I want you to find out what's going on, and it will be like a dungeon.
I'm just gonna play my podcaster. I'll be honest.
Perfect.
I think
I
that
love
just. Where's all the fish gone?
Yeah.
Find out this next time.
I love it. Sweet. Right. With that, thank you for sticking around later. I think it's bedtime for me. Oh, sorry, Hannah. Did you have something?
No.
No.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all. That was amazing. I love that.
Guys.
Thanks, Tom.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.